Good morning, one and all. Oh, there's always something in the morning. Always something in the morning. Morning, all. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing absolutely phenomenally well this morning. Hope we're all wide awake more than I am, because I'll tell you now, I am not. I am not wide awake at all. If anybody joined on last night's stream, it was a rather late stream. I think I said 12 o'clock. And I think I finally called it at 1. Then I did continue working a little bit later than that. I think it was about 2ish when I actually came out of the office, as we will see from my office floor. And then by the time you wind down, have a drink, had the obligatory piece of toast, had a drink and whatnot, went upstairs, and then just replying to some messages and whatnot on about the stream on Discord and whatnot. I think it was, I've pressed one of my buttons, sorry guys. I think it was about 3:30 this morning. And then the alarm went off at 7, but I was already awake at that point with a cup of tea. So been up since about 6ish. So about 3 hours kip, let's say, 2.5 hours kip, coupled with the night before, which was about 2 hours. I am feeling like I am running on empty this morning, but this is what we do. So I did say I was going to stream this morning. And that's mainly because we do have unfinished business from yesterday. So, excuse me. If anybody did start the stream yesterday and didn't catch the end of the stream yesterday, we were working on this. I would say, if you want a good experience of full diagnostic fault finding with board view and schematics and boot time view as well, it was really, really good. And I think the feedback from most people who was watching it was quite engaging and enthralling as well, because James had provided a boot sequence for us for times, and we actually traced it back, looking at every single boot time and everything else on that board, so we could see each process down to microseconds, and then we were measuring it all to see if we could find out what it was. So yeah, so it's a little bit disappointing that it's still not done, but there will be some others on there. But it got to the point last night where we probably needed an oscilloscope out, so I didn't really want to start banging on with the oscilloscope when I was a little bit blurry-eyed. So we do have. Oh, I've put it down here now. No, where did I put it? I can't remember. I put it on that side. It's in the doorway next to the dog. The dog's keeping an eye on it. She's working on that one this morning. It's dog. So when she's finished down whatever way, that way. See, she knows she's being talked about. When she's finished working on stand up. When she's finished her bit this morning, I'm gonna start working on that computer there, and we'll get some diagnostics on that one. That one is not posting at all. They're a streamer. They're a TikTok streamer, and they want to make sure they can get online and just get bits and bobs done. So I'm going to send this little lady back to her bed. She can have a lay down, and then we'll crack on with that. Come on, go lay down. Good. But yeah, the last night's stream, guys, if you do, certainly watch it if you want, from about, it took us about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So if you do want to have a look at that, really, I found it extremely interesting, really good, and the feedback from everybody in there, it was quite engaging and enthralling. It was one of them where just didn't know. It was really, really in depth with board view, with schematics and whatnot, measuring things like this. If you're experiencing it, maybe not, but probably for the average person, maybe watching and things like that, just to see where we were going with that and how it all kind of interacts, how it all ticks by, how it all happens. Really, really good, really good. So I would say drop on last night's stream, have a look at that. Highly, highly recommended for you. Right, so let me sling this on a live chat. I'm running 2 chats now. I want to see if they both work correctly. I don't know whether they will, but we will see how they go. Oh, so let's say some good mornings. Morning, Archnoid. Woof, 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 yeah. Just posted a link to our video yesterday about the Amazon deliveries in the Mike's unboxing Discord. Is that, have you had issues with it as well, Archnoid? With your Amazon deliveries as well? Oh, my video. Oh, okay. In Mike's unboxing Discord. Oh, right, I don't know that one, so I will have a look at that one. I will have a look on there. Next Nater, good morning, Next Nater. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am trying to run, because obviously I'm multi-stream now. I've got, I was talking to Rusty Russ Repairs. If nobody is only 9 of you in chat, I would imagine you all do, because Russ is amazing. But if you don't, please check out Rusty Russ Repairs. But I've put it on dual chat now for that one. Thank you for posting that as well. I forgot to, that's what I forgot to do. You have to bear me 1 second. I forgot to post this in copy. I forget my head if it's not screwed on, you know. General, let's just post this in there and do paste and do send. Sorry, forgot to post it in Discord, my start. If you don't post it in Discord, you don't always get the viewers, but we've got the cream of the crop of the viewers now. Other good news, 569 viewers, not viewers. My mind's all over this morning because I'm so tired. So it's going to be entertaining trying to diagnose that. 569 subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. And we've got about 18 channel members as well who pay anything from 99 pence up to, I think it's £2.99, something like that. So to help support the channel, we used one of the pieces of the kit yesterday, what we bought from the very kind donations, which was the BIOS programmer, which is our first bit, what we've purchased with the subscriptions and whatnot. So it's things like that which is going to help the channel no end. So thank you one and all. There's been so many gifted memberships this month as well. Thank you to everybody who has gifted as well and passing it on to the wider community. Morning, Mick. How are you this morning? I was just explaining my Archnoid. Oh, thank you, Archnoid. Thank you for becoming a member. That wasn't a hint saying get your card out your pocket and buy a membership, but thank you so much. And Joseph has he's made it. Thank you, Joseph. Oh, thanks, Joseph. Joseph was, I think, the very first donation I got. I've had somebody else come through as well. So my eyes are a little bit blurry. Super chatted. That's my first super chat as well. Joseph was the very first one who donated on the donation link, I think, and he's the very first super chat on there. So thank you, very, very, far too kind, Joseph. I was just explaining what we had bought from the original donation, which was the BIOS program, what you used last night. So yeah, guys, we are going to pick back up on it because a few people said they were keen to see that, but that's probably going to be with Oscilloscope, so we can start tracking down the signals and things like that, because we got to the stage where the multimeter wasn't accurate enough to pick up the small signals, because we were looking to see if signals were going high and low rather than just voltage. So that'll be one for Oscilloscope. But my Oscilloscope is packed up. It's only a portable one, which is no, that's me. I think my Oscilloscope is here. My Oscilloscope is here. It's only a handheld one, but it is a nice one. If anyone's wondering, it is the dual channel 50 megahertz one, and it's the I don't know which one it is now. I can't remember the model on it. It's the they cleverly don't print it on the box, so you don't know. But we will we'll track that down with the Oscilloscope when when I've got time. Might do a little bit of that this morning as well. So I'm turning my heating off this morning. I'm absolutely cooking because I'm tired. I've had so many coffees and I'm now cooking. So we're going to put this one away and get back to that, like we said we were going to do, and get on with the pop that there. Put that on the shelf and get on with the desktop, which is the other one which we need to put a little bit of emphasis and focus on this morning. As with all desktops, can't remember where I put it. They don't always fit on the shelf very easily, but we have a desktop. Oh, there we go. Oh. Morning, Mookie. Morning, Mick. Thank you again, Joseph. Ouch, -1. Is that what it is in the UK? Are you in the UK, Joseph? I believe you are. It's the same make but different model JFix was showing in his video. Is that the Oscilloscope? Is Nick in as well? Did I miss Nick? I'm on live chat. Morning, Nick. Nick was a great help last night as well on the stream. It certainly educated me in a few bits and bobs. I like seeing desktops, PCs for repair. Yeah, this is a. Yes, I have that one you showed. Ah, right, yeah. I've only used mine a few times, in fairness, probably 3-4 times, something like that. I know the principles of it. I don't understand it, the operation of it fully. So it was something I purchased to expand my knowledge rather than benefit. Is that right? I don't know. But yeah. My donor was in. Oh yes, it was. So yeah, you -1. It is incredibly. I don't know about in the country. It is incredibly bright here this morning. Boy, is it cold. Boy, is it cold. When I finally went upstairs to bed early hours this morning, about 3 a.m. I think I actually went upstairs. It was like an ice thing because the heating had been off since, I don't know, 10 o'clock last night. Actually, I think I put it back on when I was streaming because I was that cold. So it was still freezing cold upstairs. Absolutely freezing. So yeah, Nick Boff, a great assistance last night. I learned so much, Nick, in last night's stream, and I was just explaining that we are going to revisit that maybe with a oscilloscope to see if we can track some of the signal data down and so on. Thank God, no rain so far. Yeah, it has. I think rain tomorrow. I think that's what it's forecasted for the UK. I'm supposed to go in for a run today, but my knee is absolutely murdering me. My injured knee. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to be. Not sure whether I'm going to venture out for it. But yeah, we will see how it goes. Oh, right. So the story behind this PC here. This one got dropped off yesterday. He bought it recently. I think over the last week or so. He's bought it as a working PC. He was told that it had been fully reset prior to him buying it, and it was fully working. He's taken it home, tried it, no signal, no picture. His friend, who knows a bit about computers, has had a look, managed to get it into the BIOS, but can't get any further than the BIOS. And then there's no picture. I said, well, if there's a picture, to get into the BIOS, you must have a picture. No, we've got no picture. So I was a little bit confused which way it was, whether we had a picture or whether we did. So we're just going to take it on the basis that it's dead and we'll work forward from there. Because I think sometimes if we take a benchmark from there, that's what it is. Will start snow soon here. Oh, are you also in the UK? TFN. I'm not too sure where people are. Yeah, it's the Zoe. That's it. Archnoid Zoe. I think mine's a 702 rather than 703. I can't remember. I bought it a while ago, but it's always sat in the box. With JFix's libraries and BV hints, it was good. Nick, I was just saying, it was really good fun, and I think I was looking at the people in chat. It did diminish, but I think 1:30 a.m. this morning, I still had 30 odd people in chat, which is a high number for me. When you consider on a lively daytime stream, I'll peak at just over 50, but average somewhere sort of mid-30s to 40. So to keep well over 30, nearly touching 40 into the gone midnight, I think was really, really good. And I think it was a testament to how the stream were progressing and kind of people were finding it a bit more interesting than anything else. But again, guys, that was down to the chat. They were really engaging in how we were pushing that forward. So I think a lot of people wanted to see the outcome of it and maybe saw something new with the time progression. I have never done that before, and I've not seen anyone else do it. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but again, go back and look at yesterday's VOD for the last couple of hours on it. So it ended up being a 6-hour stream, but it was time thing from when you press the power button, and it gives time intervals all periodically, down to microseconds, where you'd expect to see voltages and things like this on different components. And it was fun trying to find some of these mini micro components and post the board and do all sorts. So yeah, there was a bit about there. Yeah, methodology of the board view. Not seen that page on it before. Yeah. I'd not seen it either actually with the thing. That's why I found it a little bit daunting. But again, chat was amazing with how they helped it all go through. Follow the flow. Yeah, that was it. A bit more stuff. All right, got you. I know whereabouts. Well, I think you deleted your previous message, but not a problem. Well, at least it's not snowing here where I am anyway. So we are gonna have a look at this on a basis of it's not working. Might plug it in, might turn it on. It might work. You never know with these, do you? So we'll have a quick visual inspection to start with. We've got obviously an Intel CPU here. It is a H81M motherboard. So it's probably an older board. I would say probably that 4th gen board, H81. Are they 4th gen Intel boards? I don't know, but we'll have a look. A couple of sticks of RAM mismatched. We've got HyperX and whatever the short one is here. So a couple of mismatched sticks of RAM. Still got the old-fashioned DVD. Graphics card, which is Expert Vision GmbH. What card is this? Made in China. It's a GT 950. GT 950 graphics card. We've got an old-fashioned spin-up mechanical drive. We'll look to have an SSD in here as well. And we've got a Corsair V350 power supply. And it looks like we've been colonised by spiders. And yeah, relatively clean. A bit of dust about, but they get in all computers, don't they? So, one fan at the front, which looks like it's an RGB. One exhaust fan at the back. Other than that, pretty much standard. Not a bad quality case of the era of there. It is an Core i5 according to the sticker on the front. And it's a Corsair case. So that explains why the case is like it is. I was at Disjointed last night. I've not even took my... I felt like a teenager. Stacking all the empties on the side. Crazy. I think I'm such a nice person. Are you talking to me, Electro? Well, thank you. I do try. I do try. What you see here on YouTube is me. I don't put... I think when I initially started, I tried to put an act on, e.g., be something I wasn't, because I thought that's what people wanted, to be more entertaining. And I got a lot of, I wouldn't say criticism, I got a lot of feedback from people, certainly some people that knew me, and just said, it ain't you, just do what you do, be what you be. So what you see now is kind of what you get. I don't always have good days, I don't always have bad days, but I'm pretty much what you see here, so it is appreciated. With comments like that, it means a lot. That's why I take it so personally when either something goes wrong with my business, or because I'm passionate about it, I care, and I care about the customer, and I care about what I do, and I take pride in what I do. And that's why I always find it really emotive when I get a subscriber, and I say it means a lot. It means a lot when I get a subscriber. And also with like the donations, or the, like Joe's done their super chat, or whatever you do to support the channel, it does mean an awful lot. Not on the basis that you've donated your $1 or whatever it might be, for the basis that somebody's actually gone out of the time and effort to do it. Because I know for me, if I were doing that, it's because I do show it as an appreciation rather than anything else. And I think that's what really gets to me. It's a bit like tipping in a restaurant. I don't tip unless I feel that they've got... I'm not one of these who'll just go, we've been in a restaurant, we've sat down, have something to eat, and they've brought it and thrown it on the table. They don't get a tip. They get a tip off me when I think they deserve it and everything else. And that's how I kind of do it. I like to recognise the positives. But I do try and be positive. I've rambled again. And that's because I'm tired. And I'm not going to apologise again. So, girl. Let's go back to this. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Sean. I'm still using my DVD drive to convert all my music library to digital due to my awful Train. Oh yeah, I remember your train commute. It's a long commute, that one. Long commute. Did you get your fan sorted out in your computer, Nick? Killed a few components back in the day. I suspect the PSU series never was a good. No, it wasn't. They got better. They did get better, but they did have some problems. I do like Corsair thing. Authenticity is your USP. You are you. Yeah, Mookie, thank you very much for that. I do try and be me. Rather than an exaggerated version. And again, when I first started, I thought that's what I should do, but I'm me. So what we will do, guys, I'm only going to stream until about lunchtime today because I only work business-wise until 1:30 anyway, or 1 o'clock, I think is on my website. So I don't actually open on a Saturday any longer than that, and I only allow people to come between 10 and 11 a.m. on a Saturday for drop-offs or collections. I've got no collections this morning. We do have a couple. There's one there and there's one there. That's a reflection. You can't really see, but this one is a computer here, and we've got a couple up here waiting to be collected as well. And I've got a couple in the other room in this one, but they're not being collected today. They're being, well, that both those are still waiting for parts. I've got one sat down here as well, which we did on stream yesterday, but they're dropping something else off, and she's coming after she finishes work about 1:30. But I'm going to stream until about 1 o'clock today, 12 o'clock today ish. But I said that yesterday, and it ended up being 1 a.m. And I can't remember where I was going with that. We're going to get a lot of that today. We're going to get a lot of that today. Corsair makes some decent PSUs. It's just the VS series. Yeah, they were more. I wouldn't say even they were budget friendly. They were certain lower end prices. The nice thing I like about Corsair is the warranty. Even their cheap stuff is better than some of the other stuff which you can buy, which weighs the same as a paper bag on Amazon. Some of them are absolutely terrible. It was my keyboard, and yes, required plastic welding to remove the refit. It's like factory. It's like better than factory. There we go, Nick. Where there's a will, there's always a way. And where there's a will, there's a way. So we're going to get HDMI, high definition media interface. High density. Show you how well my brain is working. High definition media interface plugged in. Find my HDMI slot. I am going to attempt to plug this into OBS. Don't know. Don't stand for outside broadcast service, so I don't know what OBS stands for. Can't quote on that one. Turn the power supply off, shove a power cable in. So if we get a picture, it should appear in bottom right of the screen. If it does, brilliant. If it doesn't, brilliant as well. We're going to take it either way. VS, CX, and can't remember the third cheap series. With BX, did they do a BX as well? I'm sure they did a BX series on the Corsair power supplies. I think those were the three more budget line ones. But again, I would still opt for a cheap Corsair over some of the other, because you open them and there's nothing in others, and it's just all done, and a heatsink and a voltage regulator, and you just think, what? At least these have other stuff in it, even though they're quite inexpensive. I just need to turn my switch on so we can get power to my switcher. So bottom right hand corner, if we get a picture, it should illuminate. We've got power supply now on. I'm just going to push the power button on the PC. We may get fan spin, we may not. I literally don't know what's going to happen. We have fan spin and we have lights. We have CD-ROM coming to life. We have a single beep. We have picture. Aha, what's that say? It did come up with something on there, PC specialist. And we have another single beep, so it's rebooted. That's just reposted. And this is basically saying press any key because no keyboard detected. Is this going to post into Windows automatic repair? Right, so that looks more like to me maybe a software issue. So we might get to the I get to the Oscilloscope one. I'm just going to grab Keely, and she can come and assist us this morning with getting into the BIOS and see where we go. Put Keely in here. Keely the keyboard. She's a good girl. This Keely. Oh dear me, she's a good girl. Keely can sit there. Let me just get. Should we get Mickey or Minnie this morning? I think we'll get Minnie because Mickey's right at the back. So we'll use Minnie Mouse, not Mickey. And then we'll get that one plugged in there, and we will get a test environment. So, microscope. Here we go. So, diagnosing your PC. I think we know where this is going to go. I think this personally may be an issue with Windows. I suspect it's more likely to be a issue with the hard drives. My PC is also a PC specialist. PC World, isn't it? PC specialist. I think that's what it is. Bootloader. Yeah, the bootloader will be corrupted. Yeah, absolutely spot on there. He did say it had been fully reset and couldn't get it working. Oh, we had Gavin in chat last night as well, who had an issue. He tried to reset his PC and then it wouldn't turn on. It'd be interesting to know whether he's got his problem sorted out. So yeah, I'm just going to turn my Discord down because Discord keeps going. Shut that down and just turn Discord off. And Discord is quit. Bend my hand around, get around there. So I'm going to hard power this down because I don't think there's any point having it on, and then we will. Because Windows is corrupted anyway, so we're going to have to do a repair. So I'm just going to try and get in the BIOS. So we'll just punch the delete key. 2-star, press any key. It's the any key. Hitting the del key to see if we can get into the BIOS. There we go. We're into a nice looking BIOS. Yeah, it will be some type of startup issue. Is it in advanced mode? Yeah, we've got F7. Enter advanced mode. Yeah, go on then, why not? Let's see what we've got in here. Stick my face. Just turn my face cam off and my overhead cam off, just so we can all see what's on there. You ordered yours from the website. Yeah, I think they make all the in-house ones though for them, I think, for that one. Some of them are really, really nice machines. But I mean, ultimately, it's just parts off a shelf which they assemble like any manufacturer. So it's what fits the need, fits the purpose. I've seen some good ones, I've seen some bad ones, but I think that's true for any manufacturer. You look at some of these reviews they do online of high-end ones, and some of them are absolutely shocking from big manufacturers. So we have a BIOS of April 2015, so that's probably maybe a little bit out of date. We've got an 4th gen. I was right with 4th gen board, i5 4th gen on there. So it is the H81 board is 4th gen. Did it say RAM on there? It didn't. Oh yeah, 16 gigabytes of RAM. So a fair amount of RAM for the generation. I mean, a lot of people don't have 16 gig nowadays, let alone back in 2015. So it was a chunk of RAM back then, but they're going to need that if they are streaming. They just might struggle with some of the encoding on that chip for decent streamlined streaming for data throughput. Because it'll be 6 cores, i5 on that age. Yeah, it might be 4 cores. I think they went to 6 cores on a 4th gen. I can't remember. I think it was 6 cores. Yeah, like I say, it's if you look after them as well, so keep them clean and whatnot. There's no reason that the same components that fit in, in all different machines. It is to some degree a lottery with any component, whether you can get a good one or a bad one. But yeah, CPU configuration. Don't need anything off there. Is there a 4th gen i5 4 cores? Is it? No HT. Yeah. I couldn't remember whether it was 4 or 6. Was it the 6th gen then when they went to 6 cores? I can't remember. I know it changes around a little bit. I wonder if we've got any smart smart check is enabled, so we should be able to get a smart report. But I do like that hot plug. My board's got the hot plug on. Morning worms. Whee! Morning worms. Not seen you in a while, worms. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing very, very well. Don't mention RAM. Still only one stick. 8 GB DDR. Still hoping Amazon will ship me some. I'm down to one 16 GB stick in stock. That's all I've got left on DDR5 RAM, and I need to keep hold of that for testing purposes. So I can't even donate any at the moment. I do not have. I've got laptop, but no desktop RAM in stock on DDR5. 8th gen i5 was it was 8th. All right, so considerably later, and I was thinking it was 6th. So 8th gen. So it did come out considerably later. I'm doing good, worms. Thank you very much. Doing good. Just suffering the late nights, early mornings, and just trying to get some work cracked on through. Oh, mixed but not glue again. It's been hot glue. I do like some. If nobody, I mean, we've got a few people in chat, but if you don't know who Chill and Relax is, please have a look at him on YouTube. Mick, he does a lot of the more retro repairs, whether it's a console, whether it's a tape player, whether it's a TV. He's got some interesting repairs where he made a touchscreen jukebox some time ago. So a bit more of an in-depth and more methodical approach, but he does like his hot glue as well. So he's worth checking out on that one as well. And your amp in the curry pot. That's an interesting one. Morning, you've named the spit off screen too quick. It is the OEM BIOS, yeah. With the PC Specialist, yeah, it will be. You can sometimes get away with reflashing, but I would always say back your BIOS up first in case you need to reflash it. But then you've got to reflash it manually. I did it on a laptop, and I managed to find the manufacturer of some time ago, because the BIOS from PC Specialist was about 4 or 5 years out of date. They'd only ever released one stock one, and I managed to find. I can't remember what manufacturer board it was now. I think it was an Acer board or something like that they'd used, because obviously they don't make their own board. And I found after much tracking down, and I flashed it with the Acer one, and it worked, fortunately. But there is always that chance that it might not. All it did, it basically just got rid of all the PC Specialist branding and put it back forward. I did it on another non-proprietary one as well at the time, and I can't remember which one that was. But anyway, we are doing this. So 34 degrees on CPU. Everything else looks pretty good. We might even have a go at flashing the BIOS. So I'm going to try and boot off my memory stick. So memory stick is in. I've got cold fingers. Morning, Sean. Morning, DJC. Morning. Morning, DJC. I never got to the bottom of the one we were looking at last night, DJC, but quite an interesting stream. I don't know what time you popped out the stream, but the last couple of hours does that. Does this BIOS have legacy boot, CRM, CSM, etc.? Should we have a look? I don't know. Whatchamacallit? Fast boot. Let me just look down here. Boot legacy. Boot logo display. My head is still not quite with it yet. Yes, we do. We can launch different options in there on that. So at least we can do that. But I am going to go to. Can I do a boot override? Probably not. Probably not. No. So let me just change my full initialized boot logo display. I'm going to turn off just so we can see what's happening, and put that to advanced because we want to do that next time. So, we've got secure boot. Here we go. We do have a boot override. So boot override, I want to go to. It's got a Samsung 840 drive in it, so that's good. I wonder if it's had the BIOS update for that to make sure it's not doing that. So we'll try that one for a boot override, which is my USB test drive. We'll say yes to that. So let me get on my mouse and say yes, and let's see where we post. See if it posts more than let's see where it posts. Let's see if it posts. We've got a beep, which is always good. This should boot into my memory stick. At least we have a picture. We have picture. I suspect it could just be an issue with drives and things like that. It's now going into Windows. Why have you selected that and not my boot override like I told you to select? Is it going to go into Ventoy? We should be booting into... Yeah, we don't want to go into there. You silly operating system. Please do what you are told. We had a good day yesterday. I was chasing 567 subscribers and managed to finish on 569. So amazing result for that one yesterday. Let's select that one. See if it. There we go. Booting into it now. I must have my other memory stick, and we are going to just stick a copy of a Windows PE environment, and this is Sergio Sreliak, I think you pronounce it. We'll boot into the Windows 11 one. This is just a test environment, just to see if we can run some tests to see what's what. We did have some big delays last night with YouTube. For whatever reason, YouTube kept slowing down and backdating. I didn't drop a frame yesterday, like I generally don't, but it just kept dropping backwards on there. It's very slow. I wonder how many antivirus are installed. I bet there's more than one. Well, he did say it was whatchamacallited. Wiped and reset. 8 antiviruses here. You've got 8 antiviruses. Look at Worms going for it. He's going the whole hog. So we've got a couple of disks in, so let's just run crystal disk info, which will give us an idea on the that one there. Gives us an idea on the disk health. Ooh, that surprised me. I was expecting to see. Oh yeah, Samsung's not very healthy. 67% health. I know it's saying good, but I would not trust that drive at all. Just because Smart's not reporting. Crack, I can't even think of words. My gosh, tiredness is not a good thing. I think this is bad. Should see me at 1 o'clock this morning when I was trying to stream and do quite the difficult testing. Yeah, 67%. As long as I know Smart's not reporting it as bad, but I wouldn't trust that drive. That's basically saying 33%. So every time it does something, a third of them might fall on a bad sector, or there's a third of it which you can't allocate to. But ultimately, it's not going to be a reliable experience with that. This one is similar age, but obviously we don't always get a counter the same on a mechanical disk. Not really transmitted, not really had a lot of use by the looks of it. This one, so 26 degrees, nice and cool. But that's the mechanical disk. So it looks like it's got a couple of disks in here, and that one should be. The reason why that's hot, that's just my USB memory stick. It's the scan disk. SSD Plus, it's your USB memory stick on here. They are super quick, but quite pricey. 160 quidish, I think they are. If you don't buy them on offer. Brilliant memory sticks. I've got several of them. No antiviruses here. They're annoying me with their warnings. Yeah, I'd rather all my data go. Open that one. We can instantly see what the other issue is, and that's probably why you can't do anything. I would suspect. What they've actually done is maybe overfill C drive. And have some issues with that. I'm just going to do a Although it says, found errors, but you can't repair it. The reason why you can't repair it, you've run out of space. So that is what's destroyed the drive. If you overfill an SSD, it will destroy itself rather quickly as well, because they're just super fast and it loses the facility to rewrite and everything else. Plus they generally get a little bit hotter. Morning JFix. Morning James. Have I missed anybody on here? I don't know if I have. No, there we go. Antivirus has become a virus almost these days. They use scare tactics. Yeah, they do. I mean, I have mentioned it in more than one occasion how Norton, McAfee, AVG, Avast and Bitdefender all go about it. And I educate the customers with it as well. I find it appalling how they actually... It's a pyramid selling scheme. They just get people at the top of the tree to push it down onto their unsuspecting users. You know, places like HP, PC World and things like that for a mediocre piece of software which really didn't offer much protection, which scares you into buying other pieces of software from that company. It's like pressure selling, and that is how I would term it. It is like pressure selling, that they get on your system and then they scare you in, or they scare the unknowing, which is probably the vast majority of population, into buying additional products from that company because they're telling you there's something wrong. Well, there's always an issue on your PC. On a fresh install, it'll come up with errors. And they scare you into buying their product because of that. It's shocking, shocking. Or they say something which you don't need. Yeah, if you look at Bitdefender now, Bitdefender is getting a little bit similar as well. Look at the independent reviews. One of the sites that YouTube guys that I follow does all the independent testing on the antiviruses, and the one which I use, actually, Kaspersky Antivirus, I've recommended it for years, and I don't like it because it's Russian, but it just works exceptionally well. He tests all of them against all 0-day stuff, and Bitdefender started to come into the same remit as Norton and McAfee. I think the last tested in on McAfee got a 54% score or 52% score on the virus detection, and Windows Defender got 74%. So it says a lot for how good your paid antiviruses actually is. It's just not good at all for that. Oh no, it's 3 AM and trying to get back to sleep. I empathise with you, Mackie Smot. I will try not to shout and keep you awake then. I can always sing you some lullabies. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. If you don't know the relevance there, that is off Big Bang Theory. Not that many people might not know it. You've got to keep 10% free on SSDs. The drive will slow down to sludge. Yeah. I normally say, depending on the size of the drive on SSDs, which is what their local drive is depending how much you keep. I would normally say on something like a small 120 gig drive like this, you need to be aiming around sort of 20 gigabytes free space to give yourself a little bit of breathing space. No worries, Sean. You grab me one if you don't mind. I am exhausted. Yeah, to keep about 20 gigabytes free on there, because you will run into that issue with it not being able just to function. And it's just, I always think a drive is a bit like, and I try and explain this with customers. If you get a plastic pop bottle and you start putting water in and you fill it to the top, you've got, and if let's say you fill it halfway, you can shake it, you can see the air and everything move around, so everything's got plenty of spaces to go. But if you fill the bottle to the top and shake it, there's no room for things to move around. And then when you start getting even further, you're getting right to the top, you do that and it becomes more like a solid, does the liquid, even though we know it's water, and that's your data inside the hard drive. It's just got nowhere to move and things like that, so it's having to kind of rub against itself and do all this, and it just starts not working right, so it slows down. It kind of becomes more viscous, even though it's running water. So if you think about your hard drive being the same empty bottle, and the more data you put on, the more water you're putting in, when you get right to the top, your data just can't move. And I think a lot of customers kind of understand it. They don't understand the principle behind it, but they understand the analogy I try and explain like that, to try and explain that when you overfill a drive, you don't get it as much with mechanical drives, mainly because they operate slower, so you don't notice it as much, but you still get the same impact. But yeah, digital drives, and I do see an awful lot of digital drives which have that issue and that problem of overfilling, and then because you've got too much in it and it's all moving around, it then becomes over pressurized and you do that. So yes, my cats, hello, good morning, my cats. Not seen you in chat before. Good morning, one and all. We've got a pooch on our chat, and we've got my cats on chat. So there we go. That's Maddie sat in the background. If anybody is interested, be all right about going to get that. See, move fast. I can't, Nick. I can't move them for the purpose of, because we're in a Windows PE environment. If I move them here, Windows will just try and correct it when I boot into Windows, because it'll look at its allocation table and so on. But Windows is corrupted anyway, so I think probably the only thing I'm going to be able to do is maybe back the data up to D, reformat C, install it, and then put the personal data back on C to get it up and running. But I'm going to recommend, because of the, get my mouse, because of the, whatchamacallit on here, let me pull this back up, the crystal disk info, because of the health issue on C being 67%, I'm going to probably recommend a new SSD in it anyway. Once on McAfee, sits spinning, blocking web, rich client for 45 minutes, calling it a virus, just incredible. I'll hit like with too much stuff. So many issues. If a customer rings me up and said, I can't connect to my Wi-Fi, I first, or any type of internet or connection problem, I ask them simple questions is, have you got Norton, have you got McAfee, have you got Avast, have you got AVG, or have you got Bitdefender? If you have, uninstall it and try to connect to internet. I've seen so many instances where McAfee or Norton, all their subsidiaries, are blocking the internet just so they can then say customers think they might have a virus, so they then upgrade their antivirus or something like that. It's prolific. I'm not going to say anything other than I find it a lot. I'm Radio Ham. Oh, you're Radio Ham. I used to do that back in the day. 27555. It weren't Radio Ham back then. It was more the illegal stuff for SSBs and on 777. Sorry, not 555. 777. And oh crikey, my head's gone. Late night, guys. Sorry, late night, early morning. What were you called? You had UK 40. You had I can't remember what we're called now. But yeah, I big antenna and everything else. We used McAfee because it was easy and cheap and met PCI compliance requirements. Yeah. There's a lot of things with that. This must be released. Yeah. In my case, I've got TalkTalk. I would not go anywhere near TalkTalk. I seriously would not go anywhere near TalkTalk in my entire life. Right, so we're just going to put this through a quick other test just to see. So if we go back to diagnostics, I just want to do a RAM test on it. And we're gonna just check the RAM, check the CPU, and see if have I got TalkTalk? I've not gotten TalkTalk. No, sorry, Mookie, I haven't. I know I've got Sky, and they do offer free Norton antivirus. I think it is. I won't go anywhere near Norton. Some of my customers, when they come in for repairs, they'll say to me, and I'll go, "You've had Norton, you've had McAfee. Please don't put it back on your system." But I've only just bought a subscription. I know, but I'd rather throw that money in the bin than put it back on my system. Use Windows Defender. It certainly scores higher than some of the McAfee products. And do you know what? Once Norton, once McAfee have rerouted all your internet traffic and monitored what you're doing, so they can actually then sell your internet experience onto their marketeers, so they can market you, so they can point you in that direction, which is sometimes what happens, a bit like Google does. And we all criticise Google for spying on us. Your antivirus company are doing it, and you're giving them £100 a year for doing it. Why? Why? We don't like those doing it, but we accept that an antivirus should be there to protect us. And the actual fact, the antivirus there is to make money for themselves, and they're spying on us. There was some terms in, I can't remember if it was McAfee or Symantec products, where they installed a crypto miner on your system. So when your system was idle, it would crypto mine and send all the funds back to Symantec or McAfee, whichever company it was, I can't remember. But it were on page 948 of the terms and conditions in such small print, printed upside down left to right, so you couldn't read it, just to hide it from you. Why do they think they've got the God-given right to charge you a lot of money to exploit you? I'm ranting again. Please don't let me rant. Let's do a quick RAM test. Just want to see, because it's got mismatched RAM, just see if we've got any errors on here. Isn't Windows doing it as well? Yeah, they are doing it. You can't get around it. You cannot get around it. But the problem I see, Nick, and 4 megabyte of free space, I am pretty impressed with that. But I think we'll probably find, actually, the reason why it's gone down to 4 megabytes is because it's been going through the process of repairing, and each time it does that, it creates another repair file. So some of that would have been, certainly if they've gone through repair multiple times. Going back to yours, Nick, yeah, Windows does do that. No matter what you do on the internet, it reports and records and everything else. But a lot of people are aware that Windows is doing it. A lot of people are aware that Facebook does it. A lot of people are aware that Google does it, and people like that. But we don't really see it as your antivirus doing it, because that's kind of, for a lot of people, comes into another category, another section of our perception of, this is a piece of software which is protecting my privacy, which is protecting me against nasties, which is protecting me against hackers, viruses, malware, whatever. So it's a bit like, for me, a doctor, for example, which would be somebody you put your trust in to make you better, actually having an ulterior motive to not do that. And if we had a doctor which was then thinking, well, I'm just going to do this to experiment on you for my own purpose, like Frankenstein, it was probably not condoned, is it? You know, it'd be called malpractice or things like that, because they're not doing the job right. But in my view,
PCDD, you little shit.
What we got there? Morning, Andy. Did you ever sleep? You were still on, Andy, after me. So that's where I see it, Nick. That's where I see
PCDD, you little shit.
That's where I see. Yeah, that's my thing there. Morning, Andy. I did sleep last night about 3:30 this morning. We never got to the bottom of the other one. But
oh no!
guys,
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Morning, Mr. Swindon. Yeah, we did sleep. So that's where I see it with that one. Anyway, this one is going to need a new hard drive. So I would say I can't have the conversation with the customer immediately. So we're going to turn this one off. I'm happy that the the RAM is working, because that is mismatched RAM. I'm just going to do a quick CPU test. So CPU is at 100%. We will see temperature.
PCDD, you little shit.
Morning, Simon. Morning, Simon. I hope you are well. We will then get on to the more exciting stuff, which is going to be where we left off last night. We're going to get the oscilloscope out. Woo! I'm going to get the oscilloscope out. If anybody did join in last night, this board, this is what we're working on. We actually followed the boot flowchart process down to microseconds, to kind of tracking around the signals to why it wasn't posting. And it's a really good video. I would stress anybody, just have a look at the last 2 hours of last night's stream, because we got really deep dive into the board view, into schematics, following the boot process round in microseconds. But we got to a point where we needed the oscilloscope. So I am hoping that we might be able to look at that now. We can't really do a great deal more of this, because I need to speak to that customer, and he's working this morning. He did say he was working, so we're going to get into that one next. So we will put that back up there for the time being. I will shut the desktop now. Can't really do what else with that. It looks pretty much okay. You look at the temperature up here, 50 odd degrees. It's never going to pull any trees up, but we know where we are with that. So I'll shut that down. We're going to shut the computer down. We're going to pack this one to one side, because it is a conversation with customer, and we're going to have a look at that board. So let's just get rid of some of this. Yeah, when I actually logged off last night, Andy was just saying, did I ever sleep? I did sleep, Andy, but I did notice, I think you were still in chat, kicking around the place. Yeah, are you on the treadmill this morning? Are you on the treadmill? How are you doing with it? because you got it delivered the other day. Are you building up slowly? Because I think a lot of people tend to build up a little bit too quick.
PCDD, you little shit.
Juiced. Never late, always on time. Who's juiced? No, 7 p.m. every night. Is that when you... He treads milk. Ah, excellent. Do you plan to clone the new hard drive? No, I'm not going to plan it, Nick. I'm not going to clone it, Nick, mainly because it's corrupted. And if they're right in what they're telling me, which is they have only just got this and it was fully wiped, well, in reality, there shouldn't be a great deal. There shouldn't be a great deal to worry about to move across. So I would say on this, it might be a better option, because I don't know how well it's been reset. It's just to move the data from the C drive to the D drive, because it's got 2 drives in it, as we know. So we've got a D drive and we've got a C drive, which is here, which is an SSD. Replace the C drive, fresh copy of...
PCDD, you little shit.
Fresh copy of morning... Oh, we've got a morning My PlayStation 5. Is that a new chatter? I think it might be. At My PlayStation 5. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're walking on one as well. Oh, we're on about that. So I'm not going to... Basically, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, Andy, what... You're on your treadmill at 7 p.m. on a night. So I do like running myself, and I've mentioned this on it. I ain't a good runner at all. My time for a 5k is about 29 minutes. I did a 10k the other day at 1 hour and 12, which is for me pretty good. I am the wrong side of a retirement age. I certainly feel it most days. And yeah, and I'm not the leanest of characters either. How are you, mate? Business good? Yeah, business okay, Juice. It's always a little bit slow in February, so it's a little bit slower than it has been. I don't know, probably knock out about 40 jobs this month, as opposed to the 70 or 80 where we sometimes get to. Stiff running at the moment. I don't know how much exercise you do. My running group put a post on Facebook the other day and said, if you could give anybody some advice about running, what would you say? Or if you could give a new runner about some advice about running, knowing what you know now, what would it be? And I just put, just do it, because your future self will thank you for it. And I think that is a good thing, because if you're doing anything, it's better than not doing anything. And for the mental well-being as well, I find it brilliant. These screw holes are bent to hell, so I'm not going to get a screw in there. I'm just going to put this to another one side. Put that there, because I can't really do it else with that. But it is a case of taking it slow, because what a lot of people get on with is kind of jumping in and going, well, 5k is my target, let me see what I can do. And after 2 days, they're trying to run 5k from nothing, and then they become stiff, they become injured. I did it myself, that's why I've got my injury, and I'm just working back from injury. So sometimes it is just a case of taking it slow, which is true with a lot of things in life. It's what it is. Oh, dear me, dear me, dear me. I tell you what I would recommend as well, Andy. I don't know if you've got one of them massage guns. They're not expensive. I think I paid about £18 for mine on Amazon. Let me grab it and I'll show you what I mean. They are wonderful for quads and hamstrings and so on. They you get all different attachments, but they're basically that's it. I think it was about £18-19 on Amazon, rechargeable, 20 speed settings on it. I do need to charge it actually, but they come with all different heads, and they are brilliant just to loosen your hamstrings, loosen your quads, calves, wherever up. And if you are going to start doing it, I would say do one of these just to get blood flowing the day after you've done it, and it'll just ease it all up, and you will find they make such a difference as well. But yeah, not expensive at all, those things. In respective terms, what you can pay for stuff. Certainly grab one of those. Who's doing a 5k? Couch to 5k is good. Regime to fall. It is. It is, yeah, Couch 5K, because it breaks it down into little bits of chunks. I was just saying, I did since coming back from injury, so I stopped running in May last year, so I missed my 2 marathons last year, the London one and Athens. I was entered for the Athens marathon. I couldn't go to that, which I was devastated in November about, because I wanted to do the Athens marathon, and then I missed the local 10K as well in my area because I was injured. So I haven't run since May really, and I'm under physio, but I did manage to say, I think I've run 3 or 4 times now this year. Managed to do a 10K beginning of the week, 1 hour and 12, which I know isn't quick, but it's quick for me. That it is quick for me, and the dog loves it. She can do it in about 34 minutes. A 10K, she shows off, but she is a dog. I'm just going to plug that into the charger because I do need to charge it. And are we charging? Are we hell? Plug it in down here to charge. I do need that because I need to give myself a bit of a rub. There we go. It's charging at an amp, so we'll just shift that out of the way, and we'll get the oscilloscope down. Right, I am hoping we should have today coming as well. We should have the new motherboard. You know, the scenario with Amazon breaking things, stealing things, whatever they did. The replacement motherboard turning up today, and also the AM5 9950 I think he bought, and cooler. So if that turns up, we can finish building that PC as well. If my mic is a little bit quieter today, is it? I think all it is, Andy, I am just trying to talk a little bit quieter, because I tend to get a little bit excited. I'm new here to the PC world. I want to build my first PC pretty soon. Cable management seems scary to me. Do you have any advice? Yes. And my advice would be, if you are doing it for the first time, do it in stages. So rather than, can't really show you on that one, rather than trying to get all your cables and like that, you'll find, let's take this back at case like this, you'll have some cables coming down here from maybe the front panel and fans. You'll have your main ATX and different power cables here, then you'll have one probably coming from top corner down. Do them separately. So you might have one fan cable and your CPU power cable coming down here. Tie up them together and tie up them together in pairs. Same with your ATX, maybe your GPU power, something like that, if it's got one of those. And then your front cable, which might be at this side. Just put them together in bundles, and have a look how it looks. And you'll be surprised as you start kind of grouping them, how neat it starts to look. Be careful if you've got things like fan hubs, because the connections on fan hubs are terrible, and they're dead easy as you're tightening cables up to pull some out of the way. And don't make things too tight. As tempting as it is to get them really perfectly lined up and everything else, you can only do what you can do in cases. So don't start pulling things left, right and centre to try and make it look a little bit more aesthetic. If you've got one coming down here, one coming down here, one coming down there, it's what it is. PC designers give you cables and they just don't always put holes in cases where they should go. So the only advice I would say is tie up them together, use more cable ties than you think you probably need, and just work methodically through it. Group the ones which are falling into rows together, and make several rows rather than trying to get them all into one. I have never noticed an issue with data cables being next to your power cables. Some people don't like to group them together. It's never been a big concern. It's a bit less now because you don't have a lot of data cables inside a modern PC because the hard drive is quite often on the board. Try not to loop the cables in tight spools and things like that. And then we've got a subscription. BrizTech, thank you very much for your very kind support on there. Thank you. Means I was on about it earlier, but thank you so much for your support. So yeah, with those, just make sure it's that, but don't be too paranoid about making everything perfectly neat. It's just not going to happen. It'll be neater than everything else. Your power supply cables, if you've got a non-modular power supply, which basically means you've got all of them into the power supply all the time rather than being able to plug ones in and out, so you have a power supply. It's just an old test power supply, so you just have a bunch of wires coming out. I don't tie wrap them together. I don't tie wrap them together and shove my spare cables in. I leave them loose. But again, that's just me. You don't generally see it when you start tucking them down there. Now, the only other thing I would say is when you are plugging a... let me just see if I've got a drive to show you. Electricity doesn't like going around corners, which sounds a really, really, really silly thing. So let me see if I can find my adapter. Yeah, this is a power cord, and I will show you this because I do see this often with people who build PCs, and there's a lot of stuff online about it. God, it's getting hot in my office. Put that in. Avoid tight cables. Yeah, Nick's avoid bending them as well. Yeah, that's the other thing I was just getting onto. Electricity does not like going around corners, as silly as it sounds. So if you have a GPU like this is just an old GPU. This I don't know what model it is, but it's just an old GPU. But just for demonstration purposes, you have two types of power connectors on GPU. In a computer you have two 4s. So a GPU one is a 6 and a 2 to make 8. Okay, so you have two 8 connectors. So a GPU is 6 and 2 to make 8. A CPU is two 4s. Please do not force them into the wrong holes. If it's two 4s, it's CPU. If it's 6 and a 2, it's a GPU. And then that's because they 0 and positive are transversed. When you put these in, I'll just show you that for an example. You will put that into your board, and to try and make it look neat, you'll either bend it down like this or bend it down like that and things like that to try and get the cable run. Please don't. Where you've got a bend in it, so if it's too much of an acute bend like that, it will cause resistance. If you think about electricity flowing, so if you think about it like water, you're going to get faster electricity on the inside of the curve than you are on the outside of the curve. So you get a differential, which can cause resistance. Resistance is what causes heat because it uses energy. The heat then can build up and damage. So try and keep it as a relaxed curve, so it's just a little bit easier. So rather than certainly don't go kinking them, trying to make it a bit of a relaxed curve. So don't put too much emphasis on very tight cabling, like Nick has said, on that. And that is one reason I do not like with my spare cables, like getting really tight, getting it one of these with cable ties to shove in the bottom of the case, because you can end up with quite acute kinks in the cabling if you tie it too tight. And again, like I was saying, if you're on a high current cable, I know it's not always going to be drawing, but I just don't like doing it because you might use that cable, it might damage it over time or something like that. So I like to leave them a little bit loose in the bottom as well. And the only other thing I would say, if you are building a EC and you have a power supply, keep your spare cables, because how I've demonstrated this on here before, if you don't have the right cables for your power supply, it's a modular supply. If you use another cable which looks the same from a different manufacturer and plug it in, I showed it on stream a few weeks back where I used a whatever brand of cable on a Corsair power supply, plugged it into an SSD, and it fried the SSD because obviously the pins weren't right. They're always same at the plug end, which plugs into the item, so wherever it plugs into the actual GPU, hard drive, whatever, are all going to be pinned the same, but the other end, which goes into the power supply, because it's a modular one, aren't necessarily going to be the same. So so you can end up with the wrong voltages going down the wrong pins and things like that. And if you do that on a GPU or a board, you can be looking at a very, very expensive mistake. But just take your time and give it a crack. See how you go. Sorry, I've missed loads of chat here. Just thinking about running makes me tired. My RoboVac is overpowering your voice. Oh dear. Well, you've got a noisy RoboVac there, Andy. Shall we turn it up a little bit? Am I really that quiet? I did adjust it yesterday because, there we go. Trouble is, when I shout, I start deafening people with headphones on. And I do, I'm trying to keep it. She's 10 years younger than me. Oh, Good data cables should be shielded. Yeah, they are shielded nowadays. Most even cheap cables are shielded on data because there's only really SATA in there, which is like that nowadays. Bridge tech we've done. Avoid tight curves, yeah, we've done. Module PSUs help with cable management, yes they do. Too tight bends add resistance and can cause wires to heat up, yeah, we're all hitting on the same thing here. That's better, that's better, that's better. Right, I have picked it up a bit. I just have a habit to raise my voice, so yeah, sorry about that, guys. Right, go down to here. This is my Oscilloscope. We're going to attempt a few more things on here. Now, if Nick and James are in chat, and I can see Nick is, I may need assistance because I really, I don't even know if this has got any charge in it. You can see it's still got stickers on to what it is. So let me just try and turn this on. I think, I don't know if I can output this to, computer, to OBS. Let me just see if I can. No, it's just charging. No, so we've got no output facility, so we're just going to have to look at on screen at this when we do it, and it's full battery, so we should be good with that. I'm not an oscilloscope user. I don't really use them, so again, you're going to have to bear with me when we do this. So I think I'm probably going to need one probe, so we'll just have one probe out. We don't need those. So this will be yet another learning curve with this laptop. I'm going to shoot off at lunchtime, so I've got about an hour and a half on here, but I've got other things to do today, so I must get them done today. So that's where we're going to go with it. So we'll get all the bits and bobs set up to what we will need. We will need, oh, we don't need that. We need power supply on, because we will need to power the darn thing. So we'll turn that on. I'll get my power supply showing on screen. Power supply, and we're on COM port 6 for this. COM port 6 connect. And we will just unconnected. Oh wait there, we need to turn it on, don't we? COM port 6 connect. Yeah, we are connected. So let's just turn the power supply on screen so we can all see what I'm doing. So we've got power supply there, and we should have a graph trace for the power supply on there also. We need the multimeter on, and we need the microscope on. So we'll just, the microscope is now on, as we can see. Multimeter, which is that one. I thought the desktop was going to take me longer, so that's the only reason I've not got any of these switched on. Multimeter has now appeared in top right. Get that on local. And thermal camera. We might as well turn thermal camera. We had some joy and fun with this yesterday, this blooming thermal camera. The software is shockingly bad. Connect. There we go. Connecting. Should I get thermal camera appear on the right hand side? Stop playing. We have thermal camera. So we are good on all of these. I think microscope. The only one we are missing is, for whatever reason, I don't know why my power supply doesn't show up on here. But it does if I click there. Face cam and overhead cam. So we should now all be good. So we will need a couple of cables as well. Those are the power cables for the necessary nasty thing. And we will need our voltage injection probes just in case down here. Whew. Right, I'm going to bring board view up as well, because we did have board view up yesterday. People who didn't see this, it was really clever and good. And board view open, and then James had kindly sent me across OneDrive. The board schematics. So we had that one there, which is not the one I want, so no point showing you that one. I think this was the board view. No, did he? Aha, there we go. So we've got this, which is that, and we've got, yeah. So we've got a couple of different things we're going to run through here. So I'll quickly explain where we were with it, and we will see if we can see what we are doing. So just pop PC screen on. So I'll try and explain where we were on this yesterday. So we are working on this little, I think you probably can see what I'm working on there. So this is, again, I'm just trying to get my screens organized so I can see. Click on there. Click on there. Yeah, right. So we have here, I think it was on this page 5. It is on page 5. So what this basically is, if anyone doesn't know, and I learned this last night and I found this really interesting and quite impressive. And I was quite impressed with myself, to be honest. So we've got a new subscription. Thank you very much, Charlie. Thank you so much for hitting the 574. Wow, guys. 574 people. Wow, thank you so much to every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just have a look what, so I'm not missing out. Thanks for your advice. I'll take it out. If you do struggle, Akatasukum, I can't pronounce your name, 1035. Sorry. Please reach out to us or you know, join chat, and we'll be more than happy to help on there. Just get back onto here. Right, numbering, a good idea, Andy. Start at 69. I don't know what Andy's doing. Hard to find worms. I think it's start numbering on my streams. Thank you for subscribing, Charlie. Oh, there we go. I hate editing videos. It takes so. I cannot stand editing videos. Anyway, guys, we should be looking at the same screen now. So this is a time. I didn't understand this yesterday, and to me, it looked really confusing. It might do to you. It might look simple. You might go, yeah, I can understand that. So this is a boot process, right from pressing the power button or plugging the battery into everything what we would expect. So we then went and measured. No problem. Yeah, please do so. Drop in chat. Reach out on Discord. And we'll be more than happy to assist with any issues you've got. So this is basically where we plug power in up here. And what we then did, we found each one of these points on board view, which is here. And we then started looking through the board for different locations where we could measure. So we got all the way, we found all of these, but where we found the issue, because this is a time, so if you can imagine, these are every single event which has got to happen in order for it to work. So if we look on, let's go back up here, and I didn't understand this yesterday, but if we just go back up here a little bit, so what it's basically saying is that 2.865 milliseconds after that, you would expect to see that. Then that would happen, and then 2.76 milliseconds, you would then expect to see that. Okay, and then you would expect to see this 220 milliseconds, then you into milliseconds, then microseconds down here. So we managed to measure everything on here for the stages. So we're talking everything happens in less than a blink of an eye. It is incredibly quick. We're talking milliseconds and microseconds difference, but that's how quick computers and electronics work. So we've got everything down to here. We couldn't find this because this is a data signal we were thinking last night. I am right in thinking this, Nick, aren't I? I think Nick was in chat last night, and I don't know if James is about. James provided this, and they both held my hand through it with some others as well. And I know there were several others in chat last night. want to see the outcome of this. So here is system on. We had this missing. We couldn't have this, and we had to find this on the board. So for example, if I just copy that there as a location, yeah, couldn't see the change. So we're going to use Oscilloscope this morning. That's why Nick's just said that's why we couldn't see the change. So we're going to use Oscilloscope, because what the Oscilloscope will do, a multimeter will give a voltage reading, but it's an average reading. So they kind of work it out and they say this is what your average is. It's incredibly quick, but that's more or less how I understand a multimeter works. It sees the voltage coming in. The voltage might go like this a little bit, and it says, well, that's 12.168 volts, so we'll report that. The trouble with that on a data signal or something like that, it can be so quick, we're talking microseconds, that it won't do it. But an oscilloscope, as long as you've got one which can read that fast, because that's your megahertz speed and so on, will show it as a sine wave or a graphed wave, or you'll see a spike. So you'll see it as a traced waveform on here on the screen, so we can then start seeing pulses and a pulse of data, because all the data is an electrical impulse modulated in such a way that it translates it into data. So if you think about electricity being a bit like grooves on a record player, if you know what a record is, and with your peaks and troughs, so as the needle goes over, it kind of creates music. Electricity works a bit like that. It kind of moves the amplitude up and down on the electricity to create a data waveform to do that. That's how I understand it. I'm sure people will have a better explanation, but that's the way I understand it. So that's where it is. So where we're going on here, did we check RTC power and reset signals? Science. I don't know, if I'm being honest, Pernoff. It was a late night. It was like, it's like doing project management. Also, the current was on current was on for about 3 seconds. We will see that when we draw the current on the board, which is that one there. When I draw current, the board literally comes live with nothing really. We're talking not even a hundredth of an amp current draw. Nothing's really coming to life. We've got we do get 5 on here. We get voltage on the battery as well, which does transmit to the power rail. So we have got the power rails intact. We've got the 5 volt there. We've got 3.3 on the power switch. So a lot of stuff is working and working well. The charging circuit's working. That's coming to life when we plug the battery in, for example. So it's switching between DC adapter and that. So a lot of the stuff was coming to life, as we found. We then drew the conclusion it's probably some type of data signal, which is where it is. But Pernoff, I am going to bow down to everybody in chat today. I'm not going to profess to know this. I'm just trying to give us a recap of where we from there. So if I'm talking garbage, please tell me I'm talking garbage, because I don't want to bleat on it and give people the wrong information on there. That one. So that is where we lost yesterday. So just to give you an idea of how we were measuring yesterday. Again, I know there's people in here who knows this. I'm just going to explain to people who don't. So if we literally copy that text there and then open board view up, this is the circuit board that we're looking at. So if you look at that, get this in the correct orientation. That is basically the same circuit board. Okay, so we're looking at that. So the bit what we are looking for is this. So if we do a quick search for that, so we're looking at that one there, and then this tells us where we can measure it on the board. Brilliant tool, this. So basically we went off and measured this point on the board, for example, down here, and we did not have the 1.2. We actually measured it on the other side of the board on this one, but we didn't have the 1.2. So we knew what we should have had and we didn't have. So we then looked back at our thing, and we started at the beginning and we worked all the way through all of these until we got down to a point of not having, and it was that one where we seemed to stop at. We had that and we had the other voltages before that, but we couldn't see anything on there. So that's where we're going to measure today. That's where I am with it. And I know it seems complex, and believe me, it is frying my brain as well, and I've not put it on the right screen, so again I apologize on there. So just going back to this because I have put it on the wrong screen. So this is basically where we measured up to. We had this and we haven't got this on the board view. So that is that. So if we look at where this point is on board view, so we'll just stick this into board view. So this is basically a schematic of the board. This will tell us where it is. So that is actually on the other side of board. So flip it over and just go Control F again and I search. And right, so we can see where that's actually coming up on there. As I click it, it's telling us where it is. So that's the point we're going to measure, and the point we're measuring is number 2. See, which is the green one. That's where we need to be measuring the signal. So this is a point on the circuit board that we're going to get the oscilloscope connected to and do that. But let me just catch up with chat before I jump in any further. That's where we were last night. That's where I understood it to be last night, but it was a very late night. So I'll just catch up with chat. Yeah. Nick, well, I don't know how far back I need to go. Good to see you, Squish. Oh, there we go. I want to see more subs. Me or them, I don't know. The meter couldn't see changes. Good morning, Pernov. Oh, good morning, Pernov. Yeah, we've done that. A bit like AM radio. Yeah, the AM radio is a good analogy for what I was trying to explain as the amplitude modulation. Yeah, I've got a digital look. We're getting a bit techie with electronics on this one. Mookie, we got really techie last night. Way beyond my, where I was, my competent ability. Wiring a plug was beyond my competent ability. I feel it's a shame the CMOS battery slot on the motherboard can't recharge rechargeable batteries. Yeah, it should be. But you can imagine doing that and then people putting a wrong type of battery in it. I did get one the other day with a rechargeable battery in it, what me and James did on a gaming laptop. Morning, Aussie. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Welcome, Aussie. Good morning, Aussie. Morning. Oh, yeah. I'm cost cutting. Yeah. Green, my favourite colour. Woohoo. But enough. Right. Look for stuff called. Right. I need to look for those then with the oscilloscope. You can always check RTC crystal oscillation. Right. Pernov, I'm gonna. We will check those. I just might need assistance with this because, well, I say where we were yesterday, we were going to check. Go back to that screen there. I can't actually see this screen, so I'm relying on me pressing the right buttons. So we were going to check that, but do you think it's probably? Things blew my mind in last night's stream. It blew my mind as well. But do you know what I liked about it? Sorry, chat, I know I keep flicking screens. What I liked about it educated me in a process of this is how a computer works. I mean, we're talking something which happens in a blink of an eye, all this process, let alone we broke that down into stages. So we could see a big stage broke down into little mini stages, and it kind of made a little bit of sense to me with this. And I think that's what I found very intriguing. I think that's what a lot of people in chat found really interesting and intriguing. To some, it's just a matter of course, but it kind of broke it all down, certainly for me. So, yeah, broke down into a logical manner. I think that's what it is on there. That's what I like. So that's where we lost signal, but Pernov is saying look for stuff called RTCVV. So these are the things on here which I need to be looking at. So shall we measure those? What being recommended by that? Because I mean, ultimately, are they going to be on here? RTC. Then they're not in the right. They're not in that boot process. RSM. Right. We've got a reset now. Right. We've got PR reset, which is there. Is that one that is mentioned? No. I was looking to see if we did check any of these last night. Because if we did, it just saves us a step to say we have checked it. So none of those are in that breakdown anyway. Anyway, on here. So let's excuse me. Let's have a look at RTCVCC. Yeah, actually, we will get back onto that, Pernov, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we've got those. We've only got 3, which is that one, to check before we get to the one where we saw it fail. It failed there. So I did say I would pick up with that today when I got that. Okay, well, I'll be away from my flat for a while, up around 12 o'clock. I have to go to Sainsbury's. Oh, no problem. Home delivery. Well, yeah, I'm only streaming about 12ish anyway, so I've just got over an hour anyway. Well, if I don't catch you, have a good weekend, Ariane, and we will catch up next week one day, no doubt. This is a path to follow until we need to dig deeper. Yeah, let's do these last 2 because we know where that falls over. Before SLP S4, number 4, PCH also outputs sub, then sadly power sequence are not exhaustive. Which the I think from where we were looking last night, because we did measure quite a few going to the EC chip, and that seemed to be functioning correctly. My dog might bark because Postman's just coming down. So if the dog barks in the background, I apologise, guys. But yeah, I think the EC chip yesterday seemed. We have people coming to the door. Oh, no, please. I don't need you to come to the door. Bear me 1 second, gents.
Oh, good morning. Nice to meet you this morning.
I'm just on a video call. It's really inconvenient. But thank you anyway. Have a tremendous day. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Just Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, is Arnold in? Morning, Arnold. Oh, Arnold did an amazing job yesterday. We have tried. We did extract the BIOS off this board yesterday. We extracted the BIOS off this board yesterday, sent it over to Arnold, lead farmer, who worked his magic on there and then rewrote it. And we did all that within about 10 minutes or so. So yeah, we got that done. So let's check these 2 signals, and then if we get no joy on them signals, we'll then move to the RT whatever ones what Pernov says, and then because I'd like to just see this bit out. So I'm just going to put that onto all so you guys can see what I am doing, and I am going to attempt to get my multimeter rigged up. I don't use this, so please bear with me. And power. And I end up with 63,000 things open on screen. We will try and get, we ain't got a Dave like Stairs has, so I'm gonna have to use a roll of tape because we don't have a Dave. Turn one of the lights off. Might get away with that. Might get away with that. So we will. Don't know how I'm going to plug that. I need to get my power in now because we do need a power supply. So I'll just get my my adapter plugged in, and I will just get the power supply set. Let's kick out 19. We don't need 7 amps. Because it's not pulling anything, so we'll just knock that back down. We'll turn the power supply on. So we are now set at, I'll tell you what I will do. I think I nudged the power supply up yesterday to 19.7. So we are there. So we've got the Oscilloscope set up. 60 volt, 200 amp. Yeah, let's kick it off. Peel off the screen protector. I don't have a screen protector on. No screen protector on. it's a bit reflective. So I will try and zoom down onto it when I'm doing the measurements. So we will try to give us a bit better view. I might move that to that side because I am right. Oh dear, I am right-handed, so it might be better off on the left-hand side. And if I can keep that, it's. I think what's reflecting is. That might be a better. That might be a better angle. There we go. See if I've got something a bit lower than that to rest it on. If we've got something a little bit lower, it might just do us a bit more of a favour. Tape's going to be the one I feel is correct. Trying to get similar. No, it is going to be tape. Just to take what angle off it. Right. So I'm hoping if I bang that there, you've got an idea on screen of what's what. We haven't even got to doing anything yet. So we can see the multimeter to some degree. I will zoom down on it, and we can always have a look at some of the things. It is a bit like witchcraft, a bit like magnetism. A bit like magnetism, I think, electronics. It's there, but you just can't see it. But you know it's there, and you know it's happening. If that doesn't work, I'd say you're deaf. I'm not interested. You pencil pushing. I'm just nice. I'm just nice. I do talk to them sometimes because I was thinking, do you know what? They must have an hard thing going around knocking on people's doors and not getting really anywhere with it. So what I did yesterday, if you're wondering what this tape is, that just goes to pin one there, so we can short that out for the power button. In essence, that's turning board on. So I will just demonstrate what it is doing. So we'll pop that in there. If we keep an eye in top right hand corner, we will see when I post the machine what it is doing. Let's post it with my tweezers. So we can see it's drawing a little bit of current. But not doing anything. That's literally all it is doing. If you look at the power supply, it's pulling 0.8 of a watt. It sits at that for a few seconds, 10-15 seconds, then it goes off. And all it'll ever do is the same thing over and over and over again. So it really doesn't do. It's like plumbing water system here. Need to make up a girl for the scope. No, never mind. The head. Definitely do. Right, let me have I got my mouse scope's on. So we're going to check where the thing is now. So we've got everything rigged up to where I need to rig it up. We need to then go back to here and go back to that screen. Said it gets complicated moving from screen to screen. And the one I'm going to be looking for is this one here. So I'll copy that. I'll then move that out of the way and get board view up, which is here. So we can see that that is where I'm looking, and this is the part of the board that I need to do. So where this is actually on the back side of the board. Once I've found it, I will show you guys. And I'll try and put, like I did yesterday on stream, I'll try and put it on so we can see both. If we go to Windows Capture on Microscope, I've got it set up. Windows Capture, and then we can do board view. This is why we're getting complicated last night, because it was all over the place. Promise you, when I've done this, we will see what I am looking at. There we go. So the part that we are trying to find is, promise you, on here somewhere. Control F. Is that one just there? So see that one flashing on screen? That is what we in essence are looking for. So if I get that somewhere close on here, and we will see it flashing, I need to try and find that location on screen. So we'll get the microscope. and we'll see how we get on. I know from looking yesterday, we are in the rough vicinity of that. Might need to check all three places. Yeah, I think this is this was the primary one from that one. Need mixed TV. This is not best viewed on an 8-inch tablet. It's probably not viewed on the 8-inch tablet very well. So if we quickly look at this, I will just try and zoom in a little bit and then drag it over so we can all see where we are. So I know the orientation might not be correct. Let me see if we can flip the board around, so at least we're looking in the right orientation. Right, so this is where we're looking at the moment. Let me get my poking thing to poke and prod. So the things highlighted blue here, what I've got the mouse over, are these here. Okay, so we'll see we've got DC3, DC5 and whatever that one is, which is DC6. So DC3, DC6 and DC5. So the thing what we are trying to find is this little guy here. When I click on there, it kind of illuminates. So we need to find the right orientation for where that is on the schematic. So we've got a bank of 4 there, which are those just above the DCs, and then we're somewhere to the left. So it's going to be in this vicinity just here. But you can see, we can see that we are get that in its situ. So this is where the DC ones are. We've got a bank of 4. Oh, just bear 1 second, gents. I have a phone call coming through. PC repairs. How can I help? You get me confused with cash converters. Do you buy them or do you just repair them? No, just repair them. Right. I can't always see chat, guys, because my microscope, which is now down, sits directly in front of where my chat screen is, so I've got to look around. Pokey dokey at the moment, yeah. Not on screen. That would be a good view on my 85-inch TV. Copyright. Right, so clean my glasses. I'm now getting reflection on my TV, so I cannot see either. Let me just move my screen a tad. I'm going to shut my door. This is my door, I think, which is doing it. Sorry, dog. She can stay out there. So, just come back to here. We zoom. This is what I was trying to do last night. Can you imagine trying to do this when you're incredibly tired? He's not brilliant. So, the bank of 4, what you can see on screen. So the DC6, DC3, DC5, which we can see on screen, are these here. Okay, so this being DC6. We've got 4 components sat above it here, which are the 4 immediately above it. So we're going slightly to the left. So if we look slightly to the left over here, we've got the bridge connectors. I'm trying to do this with 2 hands. We've got the bridge connectors just here. We've then got a double one, which is there. And where we need to be aiming for is here. But it is unpopulated. So it is there. So it's that pin there and that pad there. So we're going to be measuring on there. And I believe if I click on that, it's the bottom one out of the 2. So let me zoom that back in. So we need to be aiming for the bottom pad out of the 2 for a signal, which is the number 2 there, which is, again, I'm trying to do this on 3 screens and that. So it should be that pad just there. You can see actually where we measured it last night. But we couldn't see the signal on multimeter because the multimeter just doesn't refresh quick enough. So we're hoping to see if we can get this on the oscilloscope on here, which will be fun. So I'm going to flick back onto all, because then you can see the oscilloscope. I'm going to leave the microscope over the board and see if we can get any type of signal on here. So I need to see if I can rig this up and see where we go with this. This is, yeah, quite a, and I bet you any money I cannot get a decent ground. I'm not going to move the board because I know where I am. I'm going to try and get that on ground, and then I'm going to see if I can find the correct thing on here where I'm going to measure, which is there. I'm going to measure there. So just quickly go back over there. So I'm going to be measuring on this track and that pad just here, just to see if we've got a signal. So what I'll do, I'll get ready to post the board. We'll post the board. You'll be able to see in top right hand corner the whatever up here. You can't see because I've got my scope in the way, but you'll see the current draw up there when I post the board. Hopefully we'll get something on the oscilloscope. So I'll zoom down into the oscilloscope and we will see if anything shows up on here. So this should track it a little bit better. I'm zoomed in all the way I can on the oscilloscope. I'm going to try and keep my arms out of the way. Whew. Right, where did I put? Oh, I'll move the wire. I'm going to have to take that back off and find the post wire. Just getting my little post wire, which I soldered yesterday to be able to post the board, and just get this aligned back up to where I'm going. So I'll clip my clippity-doo-dah back on. Get ready on here, which is there. Right, so I can see where I am. Right, I'm going to now post the board. We will see current draw like I was saying. So let's see. Power supply is on. I am pulling and I haven't got my oscilloscope on. So you just have to bear with me 1 second. We will do this again several times. And we will turn the oscilloscope on. Zoom. How the hell? Auto range. Right, no power. Let's boot it again. Right, so we are doing that now. We're in auto range on the oscilloscope. No signal on there at all. Am I on the right channel? I would say so. Volume, time, move, trigger, cursor. I'm on channel blue. Oh, I'm on channel 2. Oh, no, I'm on channel 1. Yeah, I'm on the right channel. Yeah, scope's powered off. I've just put it back on. Right. So we're not getting any signal on there at all. Nothing at all. I'm on 40 millivolt, 20 millivolt scale, 40 millivolt scale, and I'm on 100 megahertz there. Is that 100 megahertz too? Sorry, 50 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, 500, 100 US is the slowest I can slow it down to, but we're not getting any signal on there at all. So we're on 200 microseconds and I'm on 40 millivolts. I presume that is the, I don't use this guy, so please don't jump all over me. I don't use it. I'm not professing to be an expert on one of these. If anybody can offer me any advice on how I configure this, set this up, buttons I need to press, it is very much appreciated. I will post the board yet again. We can see it's pulling a little bit of current top right hand corner, but the oscilloscope is not changing at all. Just going to make sure I've got a decent enough ground on there. Change my ground to a different ground pad just in case. I'll put it on the just put it on the USB socket. Gosh, I can't. Right, I'm on the USB socket now. So that's definitely a good ground. Let me get back onto my pad or pin which we were discussing. So I am on the, can't really see, you can see it just on there, but I am on the pad on the where I'm measuring, and we'll go back to here so you can see this. So I'll post the board yet again. Where's my tweezers? Oh. There we go. So board's posting. We're getting no signal at all on the meter. So is that saying to me that there's no... Oh, you stupid thing. There's no signal on the meter at all with this board. Yeah, Scope's powered off again. Annie only just got into Scopes for his speaker repairs last week. Yeah, it's a difficult one. Pokey dokey moment. Yeah, sorry. It's a tricky one to try and get. So that is. Let's just go back to that screen there and pull up the time. So this is the boot sequence. That is that one there. So we have that. Because we measured that last night, we have that. So this is where it's falling down. So we need to see where this is coming from, generated from, and then track it back from there. Am I right in thinking that? So bring back the board view and put board view on here. So this is the component where we were just measuring. And don't know why I've got half a screen of that, but we will work around what we have got. Oh, it's YouTube, which is a little bit behind. So that's the location there, and that comes from the other side of the board, which is there. No, goes to a dead point on there. Right, so this looks like it's probably coming from the CPU. Am I right in thinking that? That if we look at that part, search that one there, it's going directly under the CPU. Going through the board to the CPU. So are we thinking it's the CPU? Just going to move my microscope out of the way so I can read chat. So we haven't got power on PM SLP number 4, which looks like, if we look where it comes through the board, it's sitting on that pin there. So does it mean the CPU's fried? Or if Pernov is still in chat, is it still worth checking the things what you suggested with the RTC and whatnot? Could that have some relation to it? Because we've tracked it back on the boot. initialization, if you want to call it that, or the computer initialization. And this is one where we cannot detect any type of signal at all on there. So then if we look at that, that comes through the board there to the other side where we've been measuring to underneath the CPU. Obviously I can't measure underneath the CPU. And that, oops, not that one there. Yeah, it could be that, Worms. Could be that the CPU is not powering up properly. I suppose it needs power to generate that signal. So is it a case of whatever's generating that from the CPU is not generating... Slapstick, I'm doing fine, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us last night as well. You were in for a long one last night. We're back on the back on this one, what we started last night. We're now with Oscilloscope on here, just trying to diagnose it a little bit further to see what's what, to see where we're going on it, and where we are at the moment. We don't have, if you remember, I don't know how much you're in, but we didn't have a signal or voltage here, which were on the PWM controller for the CPU. We don't have for the RAM, sorry, we didn't have any voltage there, so we started at the beginning and worked our way through it, and we now don't have a signal here. If no signal from CPU, I guess it's terminal. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be pulling it from the CPU, but Edinburgh, I'm not sure how to answer that question, what you're posing. Edinburgh's just asking, on the list, does that signal start before the voltage on the CPU coils? I honestly don't know. Logic to me would say it starts after, because your coils are going to be quite high current. But now that nothing on the CPU, nothing on CPU, which is that side at board, had any. Certainly these here didn't have any voltages, and that's why we started tracking it back to see where the staging was for the process, which is more or less what this was. So we know now where it falls down. It's just what's causing it to fall down. Well, that pin is actually under CPU. So if we go back to search, part number, search that one, it is actually that one which sits right underneath CPU. It is measurable on other side at board, because that disappears into the board and comes out the other side. Yeah, well, we thought it were RAM circuits, because if you remember what we did do yesterday as well, we have disabled the onboard RAM by moving two resistors on the back of the board. We took the two resistors off, moved them across, so the onboard RAM is disabled. So we're just using a sticker RAM now, but it's still not proving anything else. But we didn't have the RAM voltage yesterday on the controller, which sits on the other side, which is where we started tracking back the process. It's a PCH signal, not CPU. PCH needs to be powered from RTC rail and S5 state rails before going to S4, S3. Okay, so thank you, Pernov. Where should I be looking at the ones you've suggested then? I believe both are powered by the same power management chip, yes. And that is where on our thing here, which was down, I can't remember where it was now, down here, the 1.2, we weren't getting the 1.2 there, and this is where we figured out the drop off. So right, so if I look for those, so I'll minimize those. I'll do a control, oops, just run over the case, control F, and I will type in what VCCRTC. So if we search, yeah, is that going to be the same one, do we think? Right, so it's on the back of the board. So again, that's what we are looking to measure. It's actually the customer just texting me now. Just telling him I'm live streaming his repair this morning, so he can always drop in if he wishes to. Sorry. Yeah, so I will check. Right, that's not the right one then, so I'm not looking for that one. So I'm just going back to a search, and let's try RTC RST, which is that one there. Just double click there, just zoom back down on the board. So this is where we can measure the one what we've just found. So we can measure it in two places. That's the EC chip. So we'll measure there because that might be a little bit easier to get to than maybe a small component in the middle of the board over there. So we'll measure it there, and we'll just see if we've got it, because that looks like it's on some type of transistor or something like that. So I will see if I can find that on the board. Once I've found that on the board, I will swap you back over to the microscope. Unplug the board a second. All fingers and thumbs this morning. So just stare at that a second whilst I find the respective place. And then I'll flick over. So I am thinking, which is always a bad idea, my little prodder out, I am looking for QB6, which is going to be this one here, and I'm looking to measure it on the top leg. So we should be able to measure on that leg there for a signal. Am I using the oscilloscope for this turn off, or am I using the multimeter, which is a better one to do on there? But that one there, that's basically where I am going. Let's see if we can get any better on there. Multimeter, right, so we'll just swap from the scope to the meter. I've got my meter in DC voltage mode, and do me wise, I've got it set to high response rate as well, so this is as fast as the meter will read. So just going to give me a fighting chance with a half decent ground. Let me just stick that into that there, and get my probe all set up, and we will power the board in a tick. So let's down here. So what we should be able to not see, but I will flick you back over to other screens so you guys can see. So I am sat on the correct pin there. I'm just going to flick you back over to that. I know my microscope is in the way, but what this will mean is that you guys can at least see the voltages and whatnot. And I can see what I'm doing. Right, so I am on there. So we're looking at top right hand corner for the voltages and on there. So I will just post the board. So we should, when I get my tweezers to post the board, doesn't post unless I put power in it. Let's put some power in it. Let's get that multimeter back on where I am going. So back on there, we've got 3 volts. So we've got 3.1 volts on where I'm going, as you can see. We've got a permanent 3 volts on there. The board's not even drawing any current, and we've got 3 volts on there. So we've got that one. We've got 3.1 volt. Ooh, that's just me moving the thing a little bit. But yeah, we've got a stable enough. Did that just drop?
Yeah.
Can you see it dropping to 2.4? So board is trying to do something else. That's not a stable. Right, look at that. It's just all over the place there. I'm just going to leave that on there a couple more seconds just to see. But we are up and down. Going to Tranmere match day. Well, welcome, Psychic. Oh, we have a good match. Thank you very much last night. And your daughter's missed the dog. She made an appearance this morning, did the pooch. But good morning, good morning, good morning. Morning. So we are sat still at that. Right, let's find one of these others. What has been suggested by. So we've got. Right, the next one we need to find is board view. And make that big, which is that one there. So we're now going to look for SRTCRST, such a catchy title that. So find, and let's type in SRT, which I'm presuming is that one. Okay. Which is there, which is right next to the other culprits up where we were working before. So I'm just going to move my microscope and we'll see if we can get onto half and half again. And we'll see if we can find that. So this is the other one which should have a signal. So we will see if we can track this down. Oh. Right, so that's DC5, what we're looking at there. And I am assuming that, we should never assume, but we've got DC5, which is on there on the picture. If we grab that, we've got 2 measure points on here. So the 2 measure points is on the bottom of the capacitor here and the top of the resistor, which should be those two just there. So we can measure on those 2 points there to where it is. So we will probably measure, if you just click on there, it's the green one on the bottom of the capacitor. You can see that flashing on screen when I click on it. This board view, flexible board view by Paul Daniels, is awesome. Awesome, really is good. So that is where we're going to be aiming. She's on her VR headset this one. Oh, bless. Bless. So, right, we are where we are on that one. If there's anybody sat in chat who's not hit the subscribe or like button, very much appreciated if you would. Right, I'm just going to do the same. We are powered off at the moment. So if I click onto that, I know it's not the best view for this one, but the reason why I'm on this one is because you can see the power voltages up here and different bits and bobs on screen. So that is my thought process behind it. That's just not quite big enough. That make that a little bit bigger, because when it trips over, there you go. No, it's still not doing it, isn't it? Don't know why that's doing that, but it's because I've got it off screen. I'm a nugget. There we go. Right. Let's power the board. Get my probe again. Stick this down here. So we're going on to the bottom of the capacitor, which is where it is, and we've got voltage to remember. The board is plugged in and alive. But let's just post it and just see. So posting the board there. Voltage is dropping slightly. It's going low. You can see it's drawing some current. The board is trying to post. As soon as it goes off, it kind of reverts itself back to there. So we do appear to have voltage on that one as well. So the ones which there we do have all voltage on. The only one we didn't have the voltage on was when we looked at the board view on here, was the one which goes to the CPU. See if I can find a. No, I can't. Which went under the CPU, if you remember. Flip the board, which was that one. No, it wasn't that one. It was the SLP4, weren't it? That one there. That's the one we didn't have any voltage on, or anything else. So it was number 4, which we check a clock on RTC with oscilloscope with probe in 10x mode. Okay, do you know what? I love this. RTC XX1. Let me just respond to a customer. We can do data recovery. Oops, days recovery. I love data recovery. It can be dropped off before 1 p.m. today or Monday. It's standard charge of recovery. A tempt attached. Tempt. A tempt. Right, sorry, I'm just responding to a customer. So we're going to look for. Morning, Nick. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So we are back on here. We're all doing good. Pulling his error. I did spend a lot of time on this one yesterday. RTCX1. RTCX1. So we have two on there, Pernov. Do we look at the R1 or the standard one? Presume it's the standard one. That is why. Right, so again, flashing on the board, guys, you can see down there, just below or above CPU, and that is where we're going to be aiming, which is that little component just there. And according to this, it is the green pad which we click on. Right, so he's maybe dropping off for that data recovery today. It is starting charging now. You would have at least better indicators the EC chip is actually okay. You could rule that out. It's not charging. It's not taking any current at all, really. We do have some life in some of the voltages, which we've just seen, but yeah, it's not really charging anything. So we're going to try and find this on the board. So I need to flip my side of the board, but I am measuring this with the oscilloscope. So I need the board this way. Just unclip that. I will show you the orientation when I have done, but I'm just trying to find where I'm going first. As you can appreciate, there's a lot of things on here. So right, I presume that is YC1. Again, I will show you where I am. Yes, on here. So if we go to microscope, the YC1 is pointer device. Pointer device, this is the YC1. Okay, so we can see the reference to the YC1 on the schematic board here. So YC1 is that one just there. If we zoom in a little and come down, I am looking for the pad there which is flashing, which is the bottom pad of those. So again, let's go back to this. So we've got we've got a capacitor, two resistors and a capacitor, which is the capacitor, two resistors and a capacitor. So that is going to be that. That's going to be the component there, what we are measuring on. Let me zoom down a little so I can see it, because we're on tiny, tiny things again. And just to be sure, I am measuring the bottom pad. So this is going to be with a oscilloscope again. So I'm just going to get my things kitted up and wired up. So I'm good to measure. Get my, just unplug that a second. I'm just going to get, and I'm leaving that on all, but it is what it is. So 10x, which is what has been suggested by Pernov. I'm just going to clip this onto a good ground, which is there. So we've got a good ground on the thing, and I know it's not the best view, but I'm going to zoom down onto the oscilloscope so we can see what I am doing. You just end up with wires all over the place when you start doing this. Right, so we are looking at the oscilloscope on here. Turn it on. So we're at 40 microvolts and 200 microseconds. Does that sound about right for what I need to be measuring off? I would suggest it probably does. Whew. Right, let's get trying to keep everything in shot and not pull cables off. So I'm going on to the bottom. Okay, we have power to the board. I am on the pin, as you can see just there, which is the right pin. I'll go back to that one so you can see this. Oscilloscope is on, and I'm just going to try and post the board. I need 4 hands to do this. Right, board is posting. We've got nothing on the oscilloscope. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm on 10x on the... No signal at all. Absolutely zippity-doo-dah. We'll just give that the benefit of the doubt, just to make sure I was on the thing. So I'll just readjust the probe tip, just to make sure I am sticking it on the resistor. So probing it again, nothing on the oscilloscope. It's not even registering like anything's happening. Just so I'm not going crazy, I'm just going to put this in the other channel just to make sure I'm just not on the wrong channel. Right, so we'll stick this back on. I'll perform that once more, because this will be 10x again. Stick that on there. And we'll post the board. Ah, we have a signal now. We do have a signal. So I must have been on the wrong channel. So we have noise. Get off. So let's... Right, board is posting. No, nothing coming through. Nothing at all. I'm definitely on the pin. I can't not be on the pin there. Oh. And nothing. Yeah, definitely on the pin there. Well, I've moved it to channel 2. I mean, I'm on channel 2 in there. I don't know how you set this. It's because I never use it. No, I'm on channel 1. Channel 2 enabled. I've just made sure it's on channel 2. Let me just try that again. I've just altered some settings. I've got the probe on 10x. I've now set the meter to 10x as well. So let me just try that one. We're getting some noise. That's me touching it and not touching it. But that could just go away. That could be me. So we've got the power supply disconnected at the moment. Right, so we've got nothing on there. If I plug my power supply in, it goes high. Come back off menu. Right. That's as slow as I can make that. We have some type of clock. And that's as slow as that's 100 US microseconds on there. So we can see that. let's just see if it alters when I do this. Right, jump starting the board there. I don't know if that sine wave altered. Do you think it altered? Can't really see any difference, but we do have a clock pulse there, don't we? We do have some type of clock pulse on there. You can't go below 100. Yeah, I can't go below that. Sorry. I mean, it weren't an expensive one in grand scheme of things. It were about £90 this meter, but that's about as low as I can possibly go. They're my two minimum sets that I can go to. Unfortunately, on this meter with that, which is 200 microvolts and 100 microseconds, which is sat at the top up there. So it's about the best I can make that. Yeah, it just shows 10 times. Yeah, well, I've set the scope and thing. Can't even measure 100 Hz signal, I guess. Not a good purchase at all. Maybe not. Maybe you're right. It's for the amount I use one. There's no point me spending a vast amount of money on it. I did read some reviews, and it gives me an indication when there is something there. As we can see, I obviously just can't get to wear very expensive one. Anyway, it looks correct. So we can see there is some type of signal there. So where do we think is probably the next course of action on here? Because we've got... I've got a clock, so we've got that. So we are... okay on that one, which is where we just measured, which obviously is going to CPU. Is it worth remeasuring? Do you know the one that I measured before where we didn't think we had it, and that could have just been the scope, which was out, the SPL4, which is that one there, which goes to the chip on the other side. If you want to measure the 24 megahertz PCH clock, you won't see anything at all. It's only for RTC clock, which is very slow. Okay. Good morning, Morgan NPG2. Good morning, sir. How the devil are you? How the devil are you? So I'm going to go back and measure the PM SPL4 because we may not have measured it on the correct thing. So we're going to remeasure that, which was on the other side of the board. Because we might not have had the correct whatchamacallit plugged into it. So that was the resistor near those. So again, I'll just find it on my area, and then we will zoom down. Should pretty much remember where this was. That was there. So I'm thinking it is pointy thing. Pointy thing is here. So this is where we thought we had no clock before, but I think it might be because we're maybe on the wrong channel of the scope. So we'll just measure that one again with the oscilloscope, and we'll see if anything does come of it this time. So we'll just click that on there, stick this, we're still on 10x, and I will see if anything comes up. So go back to all, wake the meter up, shake the bottle, wake the drink. That is the test pin there. We don't really have much of a signal there. It is going low. That is going low. So we'll see if we can post the board. And I'm trying to do this with my left hand now. I'm not ambidextrous. Right, so we are on here. I'm just going to post the board and just see if that has any. So the board is posting. We've got no signal on there at all. This is the one where we didn't have a signal before. So we probably were on the correct thing. Yeah, so we've got no signal on there either, which is darn annoying. Oh, which is darn annoying. We don't have. You can check. Oh, wait, goes low when you press the power button, then back high. Right, we did. It was doing that. I think we had responsiveness off that, but yeah, we'll give that a shot as well. So search, and we are after a PWR button. PWR P. Can't see without my glasses on. PWR B. And we're after the BTN. Here we go. Which one am I searching for on there, Pernod? Any of those three? Because that'll be the actual button itself, I would have thought. Or am I just measuring onto the pin 1 of the keyboard connector, which is where I'm bridging to ground to post it? All right, okay. That one there. Let's see where this goes then. Bring the board view up and double click. So they're all in the same sort of area to where we are. So what we are aiming for is that. So we'll get the microscope, share screen. The good news is we know this area all too well. But it is going to be somewhere around here, I would have thought. So it's immediately above DC3. DC3, and it is the green side of the resistor, as we can see. So DC3, there should be 2 resistors above it, and it's the furthest one away. So the one I am... So DC3 is here, and I'm presuming that is not the resistor. It should be this empty pad here, because there was some unpopulated thing. So that's the pad just there. So are we measuring this with the multimeter, or are we measuring it with the oscilloscope? Measuring it with the oscilloscope or the multimeter? Ah, right, I understand that now. So the on-off button is the power button itself. The PBTN out is an output from the EC to the PCH to wake it up. So basically, if we don't have a high, low, high, or whatever it is on this chip, the EC chip is sending it, or not sending it, basically, to wake the PCH up. So this could be an issue with the EC chip not working. So that's what this is going to highlight, from what I understand, from what that is. Got you. So let's stick the scope on here, Get this all ready to rock. We are on the same setting as we were before, so we'll get that onto that little pad. It makes no difference on here. Go to all so you guys can see the oscilloscope. Zoom down, zoom down, zoom down, zoom down. I will focus in when I zoom down. There we go. Right. So we are on, you can't quite see it on your shot, but I am on, don't know where my pad is. I am on the pad, trust me guys, I am on the pad up here. There we go. I am on the pad, as you will be able to see. So go back to all, so you can see the oscilloscope. I will It does appear to be charging the battery, yes. To answer your question on that one, Slapstick. I'm just going to post the board. I struggle to do more than one thing at once, so let me just post the board and then we will answer your question. So that is on there. We have got no signal at all. Oh, wait, there we have a auto ranging signal on there. That was coming high and then low. Oh, we've got did everyone see that? We had a, let me post the board again. So if we watch the line coming down screen, can you see it here? Travelling down. So it's coming low. We're on 500 millivolt range on that. The reason why it's coming down slow is because I've turned the timing down. And we're on 10 milliseconds, but we can see that doing something. This is what you can't generally pick up with a multimeter. So it started high, went low, and it's gone back to 0. So the power button is responding. So if the power button is responding and it's not it's a 3.3 volt signal. Okay. I will change that to 3.3. Five volt then. So we're on 5 volts now. We'll do the same. Can't even find where I was. Right, so let's just post it again. That's set to 5 volts now. And I'm on 1x on the probe. Do I need to change the meter to 1x as well? Is that what we're saying? Probe 1x. Right, back to menu and change that to 5 volts. 50 milliseconds, 5 volts. Right, getting somewhere now. This is why I don't use oscilloscopes. They are ever so complicated to do. So we are on the test pad. This is there. We'll post the computer gain. I've got the probe on 1x. I've got the scope on 1x, 5 volt, 50 milliseconds. Nothing. I'm still live. Oh, has my camera failed? Oh no, it's working. Yeah, 1x on the probe, and I have now. That is 1x on the probe, 1x on the oscilloscope, and on the pin which we thought I can't really see because my hand's in the way, but it is on the pin where we were measuring before. And the oscilloscope, even when it comes to life, it's not that. You're still like, nah. I did have a brief sleep, Clunge Farmer. I did have a brief sleep last night, 2 or 3 hours last night, doing something weird. Don't know if it's the oscilloscope. Was it okay with multimeter yesterday? I'll check it with multimeter now, and I'll show you what it was doing with the multimeter. Let me stick that in a ground hole there. I'm sure this was coming to life yesterday with the multimeter. So I'll just post it. We're now looking at the multimeter, not the oscilloscope, so ignore what you can see there. But right, so we've got 3.4 volts when I post the machine. So that was a pretty stable static one there yesterday, and that's the same. That's on the same pin as we were just measuring with the oscilloscope. So yeah, it's a bit bizarre, that one, because the signal's obviously coming through and working, but kind of not working as well. I am on DC. Oh, you mean on the oscilloscope? Poke myself in the eye. Never good. Just get back to the place where I'm going, and then I will spin you guys back on here. So there, and microscope. Let's try it again with the oscilloscope to the same point as we were before, which is over here. Right, so go back to all and zoom down. So we're on 5 volts and everything as it was before. So let's post the board. So it's gone high. We're on a 5 volt scale, 200 microseconds. We know it's reading 3.3 because we've measured that with the thing, and then it goes back off. So if you watch the current draw in top right and the oscilloscope, we can see they're kind of marrying up. When the computer's on, we're getting current draw and we're getting a high signal. And as soon as the computer loses power, it obviously drops off. But we're not getting any kind of anything else on there apart from on and off. Which is a little bit we seem to lose the ability when it goes to CPU. That SP4 is not come on in, come in, dog's whining to come in. We seem to lose the ability to get anything out of the chip when we do that, which is a bit crazy. Oh, brain scratching time. Could be okay. Not sure of the behaviour of this board. Might have to trigger or failing edge to see high, low, highs. Yeah. It's certainly a thing. I think with the age of the board as well, because it's not a new, I think it's 2020 model or something like that. I did spend about 6 hours on this yesterday, and obviously a couple of hours this morning. It's probably getting to the point of it's going to be uneconomical for me to obviously charge any labour on this for the customer, see what the issue is. And if we are then talking it's labour time on top of parts time, it's much newer than what I'm used to. Yeah, it is a newer one anyway. But I think somebody else had been in it as well. From when we opened it yesterday, somebody else had actually been in it, because there was thermal compound in places. There's obviously probe marks and things like that. I'm pretty happy to say on this one we've invested an awful lot of effort to try and track this down. And I think if it was something which was going to be found, certainly in my ability, I would have found it by now to do this. So so that's what that is. So come on, get down, dog. Anyway, all of that is okay. It's a rabbit hole for me as well. Hidden liquid damage, random knocked off resistors, corrupt EC, bad PCH. Who knows? It could be one of everything. Yeah, it could be. I can't actually see any other issues from liquid damage or anything else. And we did have a look for missing components, but it was like the CPU, the i9 that I did yesterday. Didn't spot that initially because the components are that small, and that's on a much smaller area than a full motherboard. So yeah, but again, don't know what the other technician done. They might have injected some voltage and could have blown something as well. So yeah, are you reversing the disabled onboard ROM modification or leaving it as? I'm gonna have a word with the customer Mookie, because I think if it's a dead board, it's a dead board. I will explain to him what we've done by reversing that, because we changed the resistors on the back of the board, because it's obviously got onboard RAM here. So I took the with direction from chat, we took the resistors off the other side of the board and we moved them to different locations, so it disabled the onboard RAM physically, hardware wise. That's why we're using that. So I will have a thing with him. I will put my bet on EC. It's not even charging. Now, a strange thing with the charging, we can measure the battery voltage. Pull some of these off. We can measure the battery voltage, which is present down here when I plug the battery in, and the battery charge coil then comes alive. So it's actually triggering it on to power off the main power rail from the battery. The main power rail is present, because we get 5 and 3.3 with the DC, and it's also present in the same vein with the battery. If we measure the voltage on the battery charge coil here without the battery, and it's 1/4 volt, if we plug the battery in, that goes up to 15.4 volts, whatever it is, and then plug the DC in, this goes up to 15.7 volts, which is the 1/4 volt differential. So it's like it's not fully engaging from the DC side to here, which could be an EC problem. Battery's fully charged by it looks like it's a 15.4 battery, and I think it was reading 15.7 or something like that, 15.6. Yeah. It's not really dead. The battery seems to be fully charged, to say 15.4, and it's a rock solid voltage even when we post into that as well. We measured all that yesterday, so it's quite a rock solid voltage when we are. I'll show you when we're measuring this. So if we push this in, just move the oscilloscope out of the way because we don't need the oscilloscope anymore. What an experience that is, doing the oscilloscope. So if we grab the multimeter in the top right of the screen and we measure the battery voltage, we've got nothing on there. If we plug the DC adapter in, it kind of wakes the battery up. to 15.9 volts. Okay, just measure on this coil because I can see it on the coil. So we've got 15.9 volts on the coil. If we just hold them on there, I'm unplugging the DC supply now. We can see it's only dropping to the same thing. That's without the DC in. Tried it. Exactly the same thing happens when I post without it. We can see a little bit of voltage drop because I obviously can't measure current, but I can see a little bit of voltage drop for about 10 seconds, and then voltage goes back to where it was before. So it drops to 15.8, for example, because it's just taking a little bit of current, and then after about 10 seconds it goes back to battery voltage, which is there. That is just battery voltage now. I'm not on, I know it's difficult to see, but I've not got the DC supply in. If we plug DC supply back in, we'll see that it really doesn't make much difference. This is on the charging coil for the battery. So it's like the I would imagine it'll hold charge for a while. I mean, battery's not really discharging. See, when I unplug it, it drops down a little and then comes back up. But the battery's not really discharging at all. So it's, again, a little bit of a strange one. To discharge the battery, I haven't got a battery discharger, so it's never, well, it will in a million years, but you understand the analogy. It's going to take a long time to actually discharge at that current drop-off rate with that. So I post it now. Let me post. I will show you what I was meaning with the battery draw. So I'm just going to put that on so you can see the battery voltage. I'm not on DC, and if you just watch so it's actually killing the battery. When I try and post it, it kills the battery, okay? And then it comes back on. Can you see it jumping all over the place, the voltage? I've not moved that at all. So we'll post it again. No heat, anything in the CPU. I can't measure current whilst I'm on battery, obviously. Not easily. I mean, I suppose I could put the probes in line with charging coil here and see if it is drawing anything. But right, that's posting it like we were doing before. And it sits at that. If I now plug the DC charger in, the DC charger then picks up the slack of about 1/4 volt, and then it goes through that power cycle, which actually kills the battery, disables the battery for a split second, as you saw, and then comes back round. It's like there's a short on the battery, but there's not, because the charging coil there is stable as well. I would imagine there is some type of battery management system in there, but we're getting the same symptoms even without the battery plugged in. So I don't think that's going to be a issue anyway. I was looking to see if I had a spare battery, but I don't. So yeah, it's a pondering one, isn't it, to why it's doing what it's doing. I guess that high voltage, it's fully either, yeah, it's small amount of charge. I think the battery, personally, I think the battery's fine. I mean, the customer said that what the issue was, it would come on for an hour and then go off, and then sometimes come on for half an hour and then go off. So it was a little bit like maybe something heating up, so an overheating issue, which obviously is something getting a bit older, then can suffer from that, and then they can suddenly fail. But also that's typical with EC, PCH, CPU, things like that. As they start to fade, it could be a crack on the board. We thought it might have been an issue with the onboard RAM. That's why we've disabled that, because we know that they are prone for things like that. But it's the battery. the battery sits there at decent voltage. So if I unplug the, so we are there, and let's just post once more. Come on, Wyatt. That's on the charge coil. That's 5 volts. We've got 5 volts. We know we've got 3.3. There's no other voltages around the board anywhere, but you wouldn't expect to see them because we're not getting the signal for it to turn on. We're not getting the signal. We've got nothing on RAM for voltages on there either. We've got voltage to the EC chip, and so on. So really, really, really bizarre. I'm still at it, Jasmine. Yeah, still at it. I have had a sleep though. I have had a sleep. I said I would just jump on this morning and do the desktop, which is what we did over here. Can't really see it on camera, but there's another desktop there. I know there's 2 there, but there's another one there. What we did on camera this morning, but that was that was finished. So we said we'd pick up where we left off yesterday. So we have tried with Oscilloscope with the help of chat, and so on. Swap CPU, yeah. In a simplistic way, Clunge, yeah, I suppose it is. But we've gone through the boot process. You know, when we were looking at the actual timing process on here, if you remember. So it's this signal here where we drop in. So this is basically everything what we're expected to do in micro and milliseconds. So what it is, and it's this phase here. Now that pad there is the bit which sits under the board, and that sits under the CPU, which is, I think, that pad there, or maybe we'll go on next to it. Can't remember. It's one of these pads around here. That one there. That's number 3, and there's number 4 next to it probably. So that's basically where that pad goes, and that is the signal we are losing. So if we've got no signal on there, it's not enabling the CPU, but we've tracked them back to see where it goes, and we have voltage before it. I've got blood from last night's stream. I've still got them as well, Mookie. You want to be at this side. You want to be at this side, Mookie. It's it is a little bit of a tiring one. This one. I like proper explanation though. I like a proper explanation. Yeah, I think if I had a better explanation, I would. It is really puzzling me as to what it is, but I would love to get to the bottom of it. But I just think from a time point of view, there were, I don't know, 5 hours in it yesterday, 6 hours in it yesterday, another 3 hours today, 8 hours on the laptop probably isn't a viable option as a business, which is what I am, to spend any more time on it. I'm only doing it because it's a live stream, and I was like you guys. I wanted to get to the bottom of this one. And I did learn so much last night and this morning with Nick and James last night and a couple of others, and also Pernov this morning, and I can't remember what else it was this morning as well. Sorry, with the recommendations on where we're going to measure and everything else. So yeah, but yeah, CPU swap. This I might send it up to James and he can do a CPU swap. What do you reckon? He can try it on his reballing rig or his thingy bob what he's got to try and get that done with. So anyway, I mean, that was good explanation. All right, sorry. I get what you mean. I like how you give good detail. Most people skip over stuff, so you're taking time to explain stuff. Yeah, I mean, not everyone who's sat in chat is an expert like we've got in chat. We've got some amazing experts. My level of knowledge, if we say, you know, somebody who's got no knowledge is here, and we've got our experts there. I'm probably somewhere around here. I know bits, I don't know everything. I do want to achieve to probably to get to a middle mark. I don't think I'll ever achieve to get the heights that certain members of chat have got, but you know, I'm probably not down here, but I appreciate that people down here do watch. So, and I'm talking a skill level, nothing else. So they do like the explanation. I found, as I say, running through the time frame one, what we did yesterday and this morning, very, very informative. We are. It does stop on it. It stops on SPL4, which is there. So your SPL4, which is that little bad boy, just there is that little pin there. Which, if you're not sure what this is your CPU. So this is underneath the CPU. We've tested that on the other side at board because obviously you can't get into it. So we have tested it on the other side at board to see where that is, because that's the clock cycle, which is here. Where it's failing. So yeah, I don't think there's much else I can really achieve on there. I think I'd be somewhere in the next room behind you. I think everyone's got their own little skill levels. And if you could solder post midnight, you did struggle with that wire on the keyboard. Do you know what? I did better with the tiny when I was moving the somewhere on here. I can't remember where they were. I think they were about here. I was soldering these tiny components last night, moving them around on the board. I know it's a terrible view, but we were moving them around last night. This is the RAM allocation stuff, which, focus you darn camera. Anyway, we were moving them around last night to get an idea of, that's it, to get an idea. These are the resistors we had to move last night. And I was doing that probably close to midnight last night. I was fine. Came to wire a cable on the pin of the keyboard just so I could use it as a temporary on-off switch, because it's not in there. Took me 3 attempts. Took me three attempts. It was crazy. Oh, there we go. I'm not very knowledgeable in this at all, but the power button out signal, or whatever it was called, did look like a graph on the boot sequence document. Yeah, it did. I think Uncle Soren's learning channel was quite good for basics on power circuits, etc. But even that can go over my head. Yeah, I struggle when it gets down to schematics and board diagrams and things like that. I watch Big Clive, and even though he makes that very basic, some of it goes over my head. Sleepy soldering, it's not easy. No, it's definitely not easy. But anyway, guys, it is excuse me, Valentine's weekend this weekend, and I'm sure everybody has got things to do. I've got to tidy up and go shopping and do lots of other chores. I've got a customer coming in about 1:30 as well. So I'm going to wrap the stream up now. Thank you so much for everybody who's either subscribed. So if you are sat in chat, please drop me a subscription, guys. It means so much. Or even hit that like button. Because it really does mean a lot, certainly the subscription, then the likes to do that. Thank you to all the channel members. Thank you to the people who stuck around last night and also this morning, and thank you to everybody in chat who has given me advice and helped on this one. I can't say how grateful and appreciative I am. Really are grateful. So Andy Swindon Electronic is streaming. He's currently got 37 people watching him. Be nice to get everyone to move over there if you do want to watch Andy. If you don't know who he is, Swindon Electronic Repairs, by all means go over there. Just I can't raid, but by all means, thank you very much, Morgan. As soon as I join the stream, thank you. By all means, pop over to Andy, and not far from 600 subs now. I'm not. It'd be nice to get 600 in the next few days. 23 off. But yeah, pop over to Andy. Wish him all the best, and just put exclamation ship, which is the thing for me. So put exclamation ship, and I'm sure he will know you've come from me. But have a good weekend, guys. I will probably catch up with you maybe Monday. Don't know. But if not, I'll catch up with you one day. Have a good one, guys. Don't forget. Link his channel in chat. I don't know how to do it, Russ. Don't know how to do it. Russ, if not, check out Rusty Russ Repairs. He needs to get to 500. We need Rusty Russ Repairs to 500. That's the other one. I didn't realise Russ were there. But anyway, guys, have a good weekend. Please skip over to Andy on Swindon Electronic Repairs and whether I can do it, and I am going to do it. Share. I know how to do it. Copy. Here we go. Cancel and cancel. Come on, you darn thing. Onto here, chat, paste, and send. This is Andy's link. Check out Andy. Go and have a view. Click on him, and just put exclamation ship in there or a pile of poo, and he'll know you've come from me. Have a good time, guys. Thank you once again. Take care. See you all later. Bye bye.